around the city on the L by land or by lake. Downtown Chicago has plenty to do, and just outside the city's shadow, things slow down most weekends, not when NASCAR rolls into town. Fresh off a win, the old guy is mixing it up with the young kids. Dylan is hungry while Peters is composed. No longer the top dog, Johnny Sauter, but James Busher doesn't have a win. Could he have the championship? About 40 miles southwest of the Loop sits a different kind of loop. The trucks are drafting in Joliet, just outside of the Windy City. Tonight it feels more like the Chilly City. Bundle up, the setup presented by Polaris is on. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the setup. I'm Krista Voda. All three series in town this Chicagoland, the first stop in the chase for the Sprint Cup. Sprint Cup Series practice just wrapping up a few moments ago. But on the schedule, the first race of the weekend will be the Truck Series. Ray Dunlap and Hermie Sadler are currently standing by in the corral where all the drivers are getting ready. Ray, let's start with you. What's your story to start things off tonight?
Well, Krista, as we get ready to go racing tonight here at Chicago, two of our powerhouse teams had to go to backup engines. Today in practice, we saw the number 5 team of Todd Bodine have an engine problem. They had a ring went bad, so they decided to change their engine. And at the very last minute in practice, the 17 of Timothy Peters also discovered some shavings in their filter. So anyway, the bottom line there is two really good trucks that will have to start and have a new engine underneath the hood tonight here in Chicago. Hermie? Krista?
Thanks, Ray. I know the drivers are getting ready. As we said, Sprint Cup Series practice just wrapping up. It has been a full schedule here on the track. All three series have had 2 practices today. As we said, the Truck Series getting ready to race first. And our last race was actually 2 weeks ago. It was in Atlanta, and it was, as always, a wild one and a fast one. Here's a look back.
This track is known for speed.
Every driver loves it here at Fastlane.
When this race starts, you're going to be wide open. They can go fast on the bottom, in the middle, and the top, and they're going to have to search around for some racetrack.
While some drivers were searching for the fast line, others were searching for good luck.
Somebody missed a shift. They came in. Crew Chief Jeff Hensley thinks they got to repair it. Well, it'll be okay. He's back on the racetrack, but lost a lot of track position.
Trouble. Cole Witt blows up off of turn number 2.
Tough break for Cole, running 4th.
Oh, can't catch a break, boys.
We showed him we was here, buddy.
After early contact with Nelson Piquet Jr., points leader Johnny Sauter fought tire problems and fender damage all night. With the laps winding down, teams began discussing pit strategy.
Take care of it, bud. These guys are going to start sitting under the green here in about 5 or 6 laps, and we're good to go, bud. How are we looking out field, Doug? Good. We're not stopping. Keep digging. Now 9 more, bud. 9 more. Kevin, keep an eye on that 18 when he peels. I'm coming the next lap. All right, bud. Next time on pit road.
Once green flag pit stops cycled through, it was the battered 33 of Ron Hornaday leading the way.
Right now, Clint Boyer, the first truck that has fresh tires, is 22 seconds behind Ron Hornaday. Ron Hornaday lost another 2 seconds just about that last time by.
Clint Boyer, 3.6 seconds back. Hornaday goes to victory lane again.
A second and a half he beats Clint Boyer by. One more lap and Clint Boyer is right there where Ron Hornaday is.
I told him, I said, we ain't got the best truck, but I said, we can win it by fuel mileage. And Jeff made that call right there and run 70-something laps. So I'll take him any way I can get him. That's cool.
Taking a look at our Ford points with the win, Hornaday jumps 4 positions up into the top 5. Cole Witt loses the most ground, dropping 3 spots. But the big news is up front. We have a new points leader. James Busher overtakes Johnny Sauter. I believe Ray is standing by with the Top Gun.
Absolutely, Krista. And those front 4 trucks, you could throw a blanket over them, no question about that. Would you ever believe, having missed the race at Phoenix, that you could be the points leader at this point of this season?
The day after Phoenix, I would say no. A few races later, whenever we started gaining a lot of the points back that we lost there, I thought that we had a shot at it. We just had to keep our heads down and work hard to do it. And the guys in the shop and the guys on the 31 team have worked really hard this year. They put in a lot of hours. They put in extra hours. They got home from Bristol a couple weeks ago. Late at night. We raced at night. They got home they were at the shop 8 o'clock the next morning working on the Atlanta truck. So they're committed. They're fighting hard. They're working, as many hours as possible to try to win this championship and prove to everybody that we're not a team that misses races and we can overcome it. So, everybody's done a great job all year, and we just have to keep it up for Exide Batteries and everybody that supports this 31 team.
I can tell you this, confidence factor is very high with this team. They could be a front runner tonight here in Chicago.
Well, James Busher certainly making news. So is the driver of this truck behind me, Steve Arpin, on the pole. More on him coming up throughout the night. But, since we last raced 2 weeks ago, there has been a lot of news in the Truck Series. None bigger than the announcement that Kevin Harvick Incorporated would cease operations at year's end.
There's nothing to announce today, but the one thing I can tell you, there will be no trucks that run out of KHI. But as far as what happens with the truck teams, that'll come in the weeks to come.
To say Kevin Harvick Incorporated has been successful in the Truck Series would be a huge understatement. Ron Hornaday won 2 championships. Overall, the organization collected 39 wins. Their nationwide series efforts will be merged with Richard Childress Racing. Johnny Sauter and Matt Crafton have both signed new deals with Thor Sport Racing, which will keep them behind the wheel of their current Truck Series rides next season. Sauter has 3 wins and 4 poles in his 67 starts. Crafton has 2 wins and 6 poles and finished second in points last year. Former NASCAR Camping World Truck Series champion Johnny Benson will return to the series full-time next season. The 2008 champ will drive Chevrolets fielded by Stacy Compton's Turn 1 Racing. At this time, sponsorship has been obtained for a partial season, but the hope is to run full-time. And we're back. NASCAR is returning to Rockingham next year. It was announced that the Camping World Truck Series will race at the popular speedway beginning next year. The Good Sam Roadside Assistance 200 will be held April 15th, 2012. All the trucks getting ready, and I believe Hermie has caught up with our pole sitter. And it appears we're having a little bit of technical difficulties with Hermie's mic, but we will hopefully hear from Steve Arpin. We can tell you his first career pole, the team excited behind me. Chicago is a multicultural town. Coming up, we will hear from a couple international drivers, Italy's Max Papis and Brazil's Miguel Paludo. They have brought a lot more than global flavor here to the Truck Series. But first, before we go to break, time for a thumbs up. Some drivers with good runs in Atlanta. We begin with Jack Smith. He started 28th in our last race 2 weeks ago, but drove all the way up to 11th. This week, Smith has Operation Home Front on his seal wrap Ford. Todd Bodine started back in 19th, but was able to pull off a top 10, finishing 9th in our last race. Bodine, one of only 2 pole sitters here at Chicagoland. Blake Feast getting lots of TV time 2 weeks ago, driving for Turner Motorsports. A terrible qualifying effort. He turned that into a season best 4th, and nobody was smiling more than Ron Hornaday. More when the setup from Chicagoland returns. The setup is presented by Polaris, the hardest working, smoothest riding off-road vehicles, now at your local dealer. Brought to you in part by Camping World and the Good Sam RV Club. Everything for the RV lifestyle, including RVs, accessories, warranties, insurance, roadside assistance, and more. And brought to you in high definition by Funai. Funai, fun and innovative. Experience more at FunaiAmerica.com. Downtown Chicago has character, known for Lakeshore Drive and the Loop. No wonder nearly 3 million people call the Windy City home. This weekend, another destination takes top billing, Chicagoland Speedway. Hundreds of thousands of NASCAR fans are adding themselves to the population. With the chase starting this weekend, some of those fans may be here for the very first time. Welcome back, and speaking of first-timers, we have quite a rookie class here in the Truck Series. 5 drivers vying for Rookie of the Year honors, including Miguel Paludo. Miguel Paludo, very strong. He is also gunning to become the first Brazilian to win a NASCAR race.
I used to watch the races in Brazil, and I always loved stock car. I started in 2004. I was in Brazil in go-karts. I was regional champion. And then I stopped for a while because we didn't have a sponsor. Started over in 2008 in Porsche GT3 Cup. That's when I was very successful, and I was the youngest champion the first year. And 2009 I was the 2 times champion. I knew a guy that is Brazilian. He works by TRD, so he introduced me to Tom Veloce, and we set up a test, and then it became real, you know, because it was something so far away because I was from Brazil, and NASCAR is a real big stuff, so it's hard to get in. Last year I came here, and the Speed Channel in Brazil broadcast all races in Canyon East first time. And I race in trucks, they broadcast the races live. So this year they'll be broadcasting the 25 races live. So it's like that. The people start watching and seeing how big is NASCAR and how cool it is. Only Christian Fittipaldi has been here 2000. I am here, Nelson Piquet is here, so I want to be the first Brazilian to win, because we have a big country like Brazil. We have a lot of drivers, and no driver has been in NASCAR and win a race. So, you know, it's really tough. I know how hard it is, but I know that when we got a point and the goal, I'm going to be like... I can explain in words, but I'll be really happy to represent Brazil here in NASCAR in American sport.
The two-time GT3 Brazilian champ earned a season-best third this year at Michigan. A few weeks ago, Paludo earned an even bigger title, that of Dad. Ray is with him.
Well, Chris, it's interesting. This guy's raced all over the world, and you've learned a lot about NASCAR this year and became a new father. Have you ever had a better year in your life than 2011?
No, this year is perfect. You know, Ray, I'm learning a lot, first of all, and it's nice to people know my background and see where I came from, and now trying to, to be successful here in NASCAR. So, life has been great. I just, to be perfect, I just need to win a race. So that's our goal. We are working really hard for it. Our Stenkador line Toyota Tundra was okay in practice. We had a problem in the carburetor as well. I know the team would change an engine. We changed carburetor, and we became fourth quickest at the second practice, and we're going to start at ninth. So I think we had a good truck. Same deal as Michigan. He'll finish third. Let's see what I got.
Well, Krista, whether or not he wins a race this year, no doubt about it, he'd get an A+ for effort in 2011.
Absolutely. While the Sprint Cup chase begins this weekend, the Truck Series chase has been on for a while. Okay, officially we don't have a chase, but we do have an extremely tight points battle between some young guys and one elder. Let's go upstairs to Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, and Michael Waltrip. Okay, I realize I just said the word elder, but you guys are all young at heart. But we do have a really tight points battle.
I was trying to figure out which one was the elder of the group up here. Michael? Okay. Well, we do have a youth movement in the Camping World Truck Series, and it seems to be more prevalent this year than ever before.
Rick, it really is. We have half of our top 10 right now that are 21 years of old or less, including our point leader, James Busher. But, Michael, the beautiful thing about this series is you have those two guys, 21 or under, in the top four. Then you've got a guy 53 years old that raced his way back into this point race, got up to fifth, Ron Hornaday, a four-time champion. And you got a lot of people in between, so you can be young and you can be old. There's no recipe for success here. You just have to be fast.
You know what? And sometimes you don't even have to be that. Ron Hornaday was the slowest truck on the track in Atlanta at the end of that race, and he was able to drive to victory lane. Look at our pole sitter, Steve Arpin. He's from Canada. Only the third foreign-born driver to win a pole in the Truck Series, and he is fast. Only 4 previous starts. He was 4th at Texas in his debut in qualifying, so we know he likes to push the gas, grabs the pole here. So not a lot of experience, youth, and enthusiasm, exuberance. We're going to see it all displayed here tonight.
Yeah, Steve Arpin, 27 years old. A guy who's 1 year younger, 26-year-old Kyle Busch, has won both of the previous 2 races here at this racetrack, Krista.
And I can't believe that shot behind you guys looks amazing as the sun is setting. We're getting ready to go racing. I mean, you guys look pretty good, too, but thanks a lot of great insight. Yes, we do have a youth movement. We also have Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick in the field. Coming up, a lot more here on the Truck Series setup from Chicagoland. Stick around. We are just getting warmed up. Justin Lofton, he might be one to keep your eye on. He has actually won here in the ARCA Series. This is where he made his debut. He could be a sleeper pick tonight. Stick around. Cup is presented by Polaris, the hardest working, smoothest riding off-road vehicles, now at your local dealer. And brought to you in high definition by Funai. Funai, fun and innovative. Experience more at FunaiAmerica.com.
Every single trophy here has a different meaning, and it's kind of neat for me to look around.
And Max Papis is the Italian in the Stallion. Astonishing late race drive for Max Papis.
You see all my helmets, that is kind of the history of everything I've done in my life.
We made it, guys. We made it. Thanks a lot.
All the different cars I drove, you know, it's a good reminder that still have to achieve nice successes in NASCAR.
Well, Max Papis is fun, friendly, and passionate. He's also extremely fit. An avid cyclist, he is bringing a new approach to fitness into the Truck Series, thanks in part to Polar, a heart monitoring device he wears each week, and his hardcore training regimen.
Yeah, what I do when I'm here, basically getting stronger, and I know exactly, you know, where I need to be with my heart rate, you know, what I want to be, you know, when I warm up. So it's, you know, it's something that after you've done it for 15 years, it's pretty easy.
Give me 8. Push it up. Push it up. Push. Up. Push. Up. Push.
Sometimes we lift weights that maybe I can't, just for me to feel what it is.
Push it up. Right. Give me another one. Give me another one. Push. Push. Lock it out. One more. One more.
It is very similar to like when you're in the car. Sometimes you have 5 laps to go, and you just need to go out there and make it happen. It doesn't matter what it takes.
When a driver's not in shape, there comes a time at the point of the race where they get tired, where they get wore down. It's called falling out of the seat. When they get in shape, this comes later on in the race or not at all. So when they're in shape, it's another variable that a driver doesn't have to deal with, and they can concentrate on winning races instead of, you know, can I make it the next lap?
A big part of training is recovery, and being able to give the time to your body to rebuild is something that when you're younger, you don't really pay attention to that a lot, but I felt that the older you get, it really helps out a lot. What I do with my Polar heart rate monitor, I use it like data. Every single session, doesn't matter if it is running, biking, in the gym, or whatever. That training session goes straight into ProTrainer.com. That is a program of Polar. In that ProTrainer.com, basically it's my diary. My trainers can go in, look at that, give me suggestions what to do, what not to do, and basically, as you keep notes about the car, I keep notes about what I do on my training, so I can make myself better. And the bike has been really, really great to me because you can actually simulate what it means to be in a car for a couple of hours. Very much endurance racing. Recently, I've been working on my interval training. That means going out and ride as hard as I can for like 6 to 8 minutes, getting my heart rate dropping down for about another 5-6 minutes of recovery, putting it back up. And that's a little bit like what's happening in my car between the yellow and the green flag.
You know, when we introduced Polar to the crew guy, they were super excited. Strapped all the guys, and the guys went out in pit lane, and you could definitely see who was more at ease or who was not.
And you can see that there's a couple of guys that drop rather quickly, and then a couple of guys stay in that middle green zone. Sometimes you'll see guys will get at their peak heart rate actually when the car leaves, and some of it will be when they see the car come in. So it really depends on the person, what kind of experience they have, and what kind of fitness level they have. I think the most interesting thing is comparing an NFL football player and comparing Max driving. Amazingly, the highest amount of work somebody will do on the playing field is very much equal to what Max is doing in a car. I think that was the highest correlation. The most interesting thing that I found is the amount of work it actually takes to run one of these cars.
As I say, it's been part of my lifestyle, and I really think physical fitness has been the reason why at 41 years of age, I feel that I still have 10 years to go.
I tell you, Max, I was thinking about making a comeback, but if I got to do all that stuff to get ready to run a truck, I'm not going to be able to do it. But great piece, and it shows a lot of the work that you and a lot of drivers put in behind the scenes, but you're taking it to another level. Tell us why it's important.
I feel that when you're strong in your body, you're strong in your mind, and that's what it takes to drive this truck fast. You know, it's a lot of commitment. You know, driving around wide open here is not an easy thing, as you well know. And I always feel that, you know, this is my body. This is my job. I can take care of this. I can do the best I can. And it's my job to come to the racetrack as prepared as I can and just focus on making my truck fast. And that's what I think about it every time I'm out there training.
Well, that's Max Pappas. Not only is he involved in it, but these crew guys have learned a lot about keeping calm when they go on pit road to do a good job. Who you got, Ray Dunlap?
Well, Hermie, I'm down here as we're getting ready for driver introductions tonight. And guess what? Tonight's race, the Fast 5 225. And I've got some great friends here tonight. Jordana Brewster, welcome. We're so excited to have you and Tyrese Griffin here tonight with us. What's your thoughts about your first NASCAR race?
I'm excited. I want to drive the pace car.
Oh, yeah?
I'll get in there and go, yeah.
You know, 180, 200, I think you'd be just fine.
200, why not? You know? Yeah.
I'm sure you could do it, no question about it. Tyrese, tonight you're going to be doing national anthem. What's harder, acting or singing?
Well, in this temperature, the singing is definitely going to be a little challenging, but I'm going to get through it. I've been warming up. Me. I'm going to be all right. I'm going to get through it. I'm going to do it for my country.
And you had a little concert earlier today with an autograph session, which was cool.
Absolutely, man. You know, it's a lot of energy out here, a lot of fans out here, man. It's just good energy. We're happy to be here, happy that you guys went out to support Fast 5. And, you know, it was the biggest grossing one of the whole franchise worldwide, and we're just here to return to love, man. It's nothing but love.
Great movie, and we're so glad to have you guys here. Celebrities everywhere, and we're getting ready to go racing, Krista.
Well, the USA Today says Fast 5's exotic locale adds horsepower to an absurdly entertaining fifth go-round. We're certainly excited to see that movie. We're also excited to see the third go-round. Trucks have raced here. We told you about some big names in the field like Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch, actually the only driver who has been to victory lane in a truck at Chicago. Yep, he has won them both. Coming up, could an upset be in store? Remember, Steve Arpin is on the pole for the first time. More from Chicagoland still to come. It's a triple header of racing here in Joliet, Illinois this weekend. Keep it on speed for all the action. As you can see, it's NASCAR and more. The Rolex Sports Car Series and Speed Center wrapping things up. Of course, the Truck Series race kicking things off here in Joliet. We have Chairman and CEO of Camping World and Good Sam RV Club, Marcus Lemonis. Welcome back. How excited are you for another Chicago weekend?
I'm excited to be here. I got here just in the nick of time. Ready for some great racing.
And we have such a youth movement in the Truck Series. I imagine you have enjoyed what's been happening on the track this year.
You know, as a young guy myself, Ron Hornaday is a little bit older, but I'm really liking what I'm seeing with a lot of the young guys coming in. I know there's been some speculation about where the Truck Series is going. There should be none. We're here to stay.
That's what we want to hear. Thank you, Marcus, for joining us. Thanks for rushing in, just like he's the only guy who drives faster maybe than these guys, Marcus Lemonis, to get here to the track. It's going to be a great night. You know, Joliet, the home of the Blues Brothers, so it's only appropriate to say we've got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes, it's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it. The Fast 5 225 on speed starts now.
Time is running out. It's time to go if you want to have a chance at the 2011 championship. Welcome to the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series Fast 5 225 here on Speed. The Windy City hosts the 18th race of the season, and tonight it's the coolest it has been since we began the 2011 campaign. That translates into grip on the racetrack and speed from the trucks. Steve Arpin set a new track record in qualifying, but who can maintain that speed for 150 laps? All eyes will be on James Busher, the new points leader. But he also is a driver that has never been to victory lane in a truck. Tonight, that stat may change. No, and there are those two Cup drivers that are in the race tonight. They may have something to say about who wins the Fast 5 225. That would be Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. Let's go back trackside to our stage and our pre-race ceremonies as we get closer to the green flag.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Inspector Instructor Staff 2nd Battalion, 24th Marines, presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Glenn Spoolstra from Raceway Ministries offers tonight's invocation.
Shall we pray? Dear Lord, we just thank you for this day. Lord, we thank you for who you are and the many gifts that you've given us. Lord, for the gift of salvation, the gift of freedom. And that freedom is bought because of you, but also because of the troops that serve us all around the world. Lord, this is an incredible country that we can come together and watch this spectacle tonight. Lord, I just pray for safety for the drivers, for everyone involved, all the crews, the fire crews, everyone around. Just help us have a great night and help us to get home safely in your name. In your name we pray. Amen.
Now here to perform our national anthem, please welcome Grammy Award-winning recording artist Tyrese Gibson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's glass gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Tyrese Gibson said he would make the country proud. He did with our national anthem. Now it's time for the drivers to strap into their trucks and get ready to go 150 laps at Chicagoland Speedway. It's a crisp, cool September evening. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is presented on speed by Warrior on September 9th. Family is worth fighting for. Warrior in theaters September 9th. Brought to you in part by Camping World and the Good Sam RV Club. Everything for the RV lifestyle, including RVs, accessories, warranties, insurance, roadside assistance, and more. By Mobil 1, the world's leading synthetic motor oil brand. Put some NASCAR in your car with the one, Mobil 1. In high definition by Funai. Funai, fun and innovative. Experience more at FunaiAmerica.com. And by Roundup brand. Kills weeds to the root so they don't come back. And welcome back to Joliet, Illinois and the Chicagoland Speedway as we're getting ready for the Fast 5:225. To get the storylines for tonight's race, let's go back to Krista Voda.
Well, it's just the third race for the Truck Series here at Chicagoland. So what do you need to keep your eye on tonight? We have a couple of storylines. First, the temperature. Cold temps equal grip. As Hermie Sadler says, when the temperatures go down, the speeds go up. This is as cold of a night as we've had since February, so this will be a fast race indeed. The big names, Kevin Harvick, KHI going for its 5th win in a row. Ron Hornaday won our last race. Kevin Harvick won the 3 before that. But Kyle Busch is going for his 3rd straight here at Chicago. And keep your eye on James Buescher. He is our current points leader, but he hasn't won yet this year, and no one has gone on to win the championship and not win a race. We talked about youth movement. The young guys have certainly been pacing the speeds and the headlines this weekend. They pace practice. Steve Arpin, the fastest in qualifying. Rick, I talked to him right before he got into his truck. He is all smiles.
Well, we're all smiles up here too, Krista. And you know what? We're on a 1.5-mile racetrack. We love these fast tracks, but James Buescher's got a lot in front of him if he wants to claim this championship.
There's 4 more 1.5-mile racetracks. They call them cookie cutter. All of them have their little bit of variances. James Buescher right now has outscored Johnny Sauter second points by 46 points on these 1.5-mile racetracks. He knows how to get it done on these 1.5-miles.
They ain't all alike, Rick. This one isn't even like 1 and 2 smooth as glass, 3 and 4 bumpy and rough. So they've got a challenge for them tonight.
Let's get this thing underway. Let's go trackside for tonight's
Ladies
command.
and gentlemen, it is time for the most famous words in motorsports. Once again, please welcome our very special guests, the stars of the spectacular blockbuster hit Fast 5, the biggest Fast and Furious film ever, on Blu-ray and DVD October 4th. The Grand Marshals of tonight's Fast 5 225, Jordana Brewster and Tyrese Gibson.
Drivers, start your engines.
Okay, good. Firing at home. Fired up.
Maybe we can figure out a way to get Jordana Brewster in that pace car out in front of this field. 36 trucks come to life. We'll see the green flag next here on Speed. Welcome back. Nothing better than truck racing under the lights, and that's what we're getting ready for here at Chicagoland Speedway. As the trucks begin to roll onto the racetrack, let's get the particulars about the night and the track. First of all, we start with the weather. 54 degrees. This may be one of the coolest nights of racing we've had in the 2011 season. Our starting grid will roll across the top of the screen. Steve Arpin, what a great performance he put in qualifying earlier today. Grabbed the pole for his first time in his career and set a new track record here at Chicagoland Speedway. Kevin Harvick will start beside him. Want to take a look at our race analysis and track description of this 1.5 miles.
Michael, you talked about this racetrack. Both ends completely different, really.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, Phil, is these guys can't seem to get a hold of that 3rd and 4th turn. They're bouncing all over the place down there. A lot of speed entering that 3rd turn. The back straightaway slightly dog legs out a little bit. The angle to that corner is really friendly, and so they're carrying a whole lot of speed as they dive down into 3.
And even though we're under the lights, we want to shine a brighter light on a few of the different drivers involved in our race tonight. We go to our speed spotlight and start with Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. I want to shine my spotlight tonight on young Caleb Roarick. He is the youngest driver in our field tonight, and he's making just his 3rd start in this series. He ran at Martinsville, then Iowa, and tonight his first run on a 1.5 miles. Now, Caleb's from Abington, Virginia, and he's run about 50 late model races, but he said he's never concentrated on one individual race series, but he said this is his goal, to be in trucks full-time next year. They're working on sponsor, and tonight it's the U.S. Corps of Army Engineers and their water safety program that'll be on the hood of the 07. Hermie?
Well, Ray, early tonight I tried to talk to Steve Arpin on the setup show, and what an exciting pole sitter he is tonight. His first ever pole in the Camping World Truck Series comes at a big weekend for him. His sponsor has a lot of some sweepstakes winners, a lot of family and friends that watched him grab the pole. And his best finish so far in this truck is a 12th place finish at Kentucky. But Steve Arpin says he's got the truck, the speed, and hopefully can gain the experience to run up front and try to get career victory number 1 tonight in this 32 truck. Phil?
I mean, let's shine a spotlight on 24-year-old Florida driver Brian Silas. Brian got his start racing go-karts as a teenager, made the transition to legend cars, and then the late models. He's made close to 100 starts in the ARCA Racing Series, finishing 6th in points in 2009. Now let's take a close look at the hood of that truck. There's been 120 Cup and Nationwide races at Rockingham Speedway. Race number 121 will be April 15th when the Camping World Truck Series takes NASCAR back to the Rock. Brian drives for Rockingham Speedway owner Andy Hillenberg. We want to congratulate Andy and his entire staff for this exciting news. And Brian will start this race from the 21st spot, Michael.
Ooh, I love racing at the Rock. That's going to be a lot of fun. Let's look at Brendan Gaughan, y'all. He grew up racing against NASCAR drivers Robbie Gordon and Jimmy Johnson, but not on the pavement, in the dirt. Brendan returned to his racing roots Wednesday and Thursday night here in Chicago by hopping in a Traxxas Torque Series truck. I talked to Brendan today. He said he's never had any more fun. Top 5'd it both nights, too. Strong run for Brendan in that truck. Look at those guys leaning on each other and bouncing around. Brendan said if you want to have a blast, hop in one of these trucks. Looks a little crazy to me, Phil.
It sure does.
Brendan rolls off 17th tonight.
We're going to ride along with a few different drivers, one of those being Johnny Sauter. He will start in the 13th position in his number 13 truck, and we'll ride along with him.
We're also going to ride along with the Toyota sponsored on board of Todd Bodine. Todd will start his International Trucks Toyota from the 8th spot.
Let's hop inside of Austin Dillon's truck, Phil, and the Funai onboard camera. See Austin working the wheel there, getting ready to go tonight. Setting qualified in the 5th spot and looking to drive that thing to the front.
We also ride along with Ricky Carmichael, who will start in the 4th position. Pretty good starting spots for him the past 3 races here in the Camping World Truck Series. We'll see what he can do coming out of the 4th spot tonight. And we want to take a look at and find out what our Walmart recipe for success is at Chicagoland Speedway. So we go for our recipe for success with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, in that recipe, I think the ingredients are having the right driver. When we talk about mile and a half, for the longest time, it was Todd Bodine that was the man in this series. But guess what? Kyle Busch has moved ahead of him now with 14 wins on the mile and a half. But what may surprise you is the name at the bottom of this list. How about Harvick with only 2 wins on 1.5-mile tracks? Well, guess what? When we close in on lap 150 tonight, I have a feeling one of the drivers on that list will be at the front of the field, and it may be the rest of them chasing him. Hermie?
Well, Ray, my recipe for success tonight may not have anything to do with who wins this race, but look at this. A nice gesture by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company to put this moniker on the tire. Support our troops. The reason we're able to be here tonight is because we got a lot of troops across America and abroad protecting our country, fighting for our freedom. So a nice gesture by NASCAR and Goodyear to honor our troops tonight. And somebody, one of these tires, will definitely go to victory lane tonight. Rick?
Thank you, Hermie. Get pacing the field out in front. Randy Kaiser drives the pace car, and we heard Jordana Brewster wanted to be in that pace car to pace this field. Now, she's one of the stars of Fast 5. It's the biggest Fast and Furious film ever. It is being released on Blu-ray and DVD October 4th. So you want to make sure to get a copy of Fast 5. Again, it's Fast 5 225. Take a look at this. One of our marshals, Grand Marshal for the race, getting ready to throw the green flag as we're getting ready to get underway with 150 laps from Chicagoland Speedway. Green flag goes in the air. We're underway.
Nice jump there, Phil.
Yeah,
for Steve Arpin. I like
he was
that.
anxious to go.
He's ready to roll. Look coming back on the inside. Kevin Harvick's hanging tough.
2 and 3 wide as they work their way through 1 and 2 on lap number 1.
Nelson Piquet in that 8 truck jumped up to the outside to make a move.
You got to be a little bit brave to do that. Go up there where nobody's really been yet, but Nelson jumped on it. Look, he's still up there. 3 wide.
And going.
We talked about 3 and 4 would be the key to this race. If you can work your way through 3 and 4 successfully, you can get to the front. Kevin Harvick leads the first lap at Chicago. Parker Kligerman, Steve Arpin, Ricky Carmichael, James Buescher, your top 5.
The Piquet is still up there. He's up in the gray where nobody's been, as you mentioned.
So Piquet Jr. moving up, was 8th when he crossed the stripe after lap number 1.
He's running 6th right now and looking at trying to get by the 31 of James Buescher. Now he goes to the inside of Arpin.
Looks to get into that top 5 right on the back bumper of Steve Arpin. James Buescher down to the bottom of the racetrack, following in the tracks of the 4 of Ricky Carmichael.
That little bit of draft there, that helped Arpin to hold Buescher off. You saw Piquet pull in behind Arpin, shot him ahead a little bit. Now Piquet goes out there, like you said, Phil, where nobody's been yet. Now he'll pull back up to the tailgate of Arpin and give him a shove down the back straightaway. They're going to drive around Buescher.
Great shot from the Kenai Elmwood of Austin Dillon. Austin has Cole with the 60 truck to his outside. Arthur slides up the racetrack a little bit.
Still sparks coming out from the bottom of that 8 truck of Nelson Piquet Jr. as the tire pressure still coming up, riding a little bit lower around the racetrack.
That should get better as the tire pressures do come up.
That's just a great visual of that bumpiness that we've talked about down in 3 and 4. Those guys bouncing through that turn.
There's that straightaway we talked about in qualifying, which really isn't that straight.
No, it's not. You can hit the ball going down it too if you're not careful.
From experience, we know that. Coming from you. Austin Dillon still working his way up into the field. Parker Kligerman has reeled in the 2 of Kevin Harvick.
Last 2 laps, Parker Kligerman was faster than Kevin Harvick. Brand new truck here for that 29 Brad Keselowski Racing Team and Parker Kligerman.
On the backstretch, they rocket the 2 of Kevin Harvick in front of Parker Kligerman. Those 2 pulling away from the rest of the field. This group battling. Austin Dillon has the 8th spot. Matt Craft in 9th. Todd Bodine in the 5. Out for the 10th spot with Miguel Paludo.
Talk about Steve Arpin in just his 5th start, starting on the pole. I bet that went just about like he expected it to. When they say go, these boys get very serious, and Steve experienced it, got shuffled back. He settled in the 7th spot. If he could just ride there a little bit, get his legs under him, and maybe make a run at these guys later in the race, that'll be a successful night for him. He was right there in the middle of the action when they threw the green, though, right?
Yeah, Steve has some experience here. He's actually finished in a runner-up spot in an ARCA Racing Series race here last year.
You know, the 27-year-old was excited when we saw the graphic after qualifying. He was going to start beside Kevin Harvick here in this race. He had a huge smile on his face saying, wow, that's really cool.
Don't you love that? I want that type of enthusiasm. This is a privilege to get to race in NASCAR. And when you see a young man come down from Canada, set on the pole here in Chicago and have that kind of attitude, that's so refreshing.
You know, we talk about the fact that half of our top 10 are 21 years of age or younger. These guys are really good. I'm telling you, this is really, really difficult. A lot of these drivers, young and old, make it look pretty easy, but this is a pretty difficult thing these guys are doing.
James Busher working to the outside of Cole Witt now, trying to take away that position. That's for 5th.
Come up on the lap truck of Norm Benning down on the bottom. Norm does a nice job of giving those guys plenty of room to race. Look at the run that Kyle Busch has on Arpin.
Had a little momentum, wanted to go to the outside. Steve was on the top. Steve backed off, let him get that spot, getting in the corner.
2 previous races, Kyle Busch started those races in the 4th position. Tonight he started 14th. The 2 previous races he went to victory lane. We'll see what he can do tonight.
You know, this is one of 8 racetracks that Kyle Busch has won in all 3 of the major divisions of NASCAR. So he gets it done on all types of racetrack, and he certainly there's been nobody any better here in these 2 truck races we've had in the past.
Yeah, and he drove from 14th up to 7th here in just 8 laps. So a good move early for Kyle. Closing in on Cole Witt. You see the truck still scraping the ground there as he shoots through 3 and 4. You'll see also the truck sort of bounced up the hill a little bit. When that truck's bottoming out, the front tires aren't grabbing the road as good as they would if it weren't. So that's what they're battling with down there in 3 and 4.
And the caution has come out. It's debris in turn number 3. Brought the first caution out here at Chicagoland. That's probably the first time a lot of these guys have lifted.
Yeah, these cool temperatures, really even unseasonably cool, even though it's September here in the Midwest. An incredible amount of grip on this racetrack.
See Mike Garvey slow on the racetrack, and looks like one of the ducks came off of maybe his truck, so they will take care of that. We'll get track clean and be back to racing here in Chicago. Monday NASCAR Race Hub delivers the ultimate recap from Chicago and gets you ready for round 2 of the chase in New Hampshire. Hear from the drivers and get the latest breaking news and analysis. Don't miss NASCAR Race Hub. But it's new time. That's Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed. Our first caution comes out for debris on the racetrack. That was not the debris. That is looking like some delicious food that is being cooked in the infield here at Chicagoland Speedway. Aaron's is going to give away a lucky dog, and it goes to Norm Benning.
How about that, Norm? He's going to be rewarded with a lap back.
Just like that. What about the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series? We've got campers all over this place. We're cooking up some ribs, a little bit of corn. I think Marcus Lemonis knows what he's doing by sponsoring the Truck Series, right?
Yeah, how about he's going to sponsor, Good Sam's going to sponsor the truck race at Rockingham next year, as well as Cheerwine, which is a North Carolina bottled soft drink.
We just saw Norm Benny coming onto pit road. Before Norm came onto pit road, a few other teams came onto pit road, right?
Well, and Rick, you wouldn't expect to see many trucks down here only 11 or 12 laps into this race. That's only about a third of the way through a fuel run. But Todd Bodine's truck needed an adjustment. They went down a couple of rounds on the track bar to try to tighten him up. Also added a little bit of wedge. Todd said his truck was uncontrollably loose. His crew chief, Mike Hillman Jr., said, we'll free up a little bit later. Right now, we need it tightened up. Hermie?
Well, Ray, one of my drivers pitted, one did not, fighting the same issue. Max Pappas came to pit road, but Johnny Sauter, you see right here, he's maintained his position of 13th on the racetrack, but he has been squalling on the radio to Joe Shear. Very, very loose. They're trying to tell him it's air pressure, hope it'll get better. But right now, Johnny Sauter cannot move up from his 13th starting position.
You know, guys, what's funny is it used to automatically say, okay, it's going to cool off, it's going to get tighter. That's not the case anymore, and I think the popular opinion is, Michael, that the front tires get that better grip first, and that's why the front is more positive.
These guys work all through practice trying to get the front turn, and they finally accomplish it. Oh, by the way, now the back won't stick. We got to work on that.
It's Kevin Harvick and Parker Kligerman bringing the field to the green flag.
Brendan Gaughan also came down pit road in the South Point Toyota.
They were under the back of that truck. Maybe adjusted, maybe, yeah. Probably didn't like the way that truck was feeling. A lot of loose trucks, which you know what that means. Caution might be ahead.
Loose is fast, right?
Loose is fast. Fast to spin out, too.
Kevin Harvick just in front of Parker Kligerman. Nelson Piquet Jr. He has been the man on the move, already up to the 3rd spot.
How about that yellow truck on the outside, that Dollar General Toyota, Kyle Busch. He gets by Arvin, now he's going after Buescher.
Here comes Austin Dillon. He likes the way Kyle's heading toward the front. Said, I'm going to hook on to you, brother. You do get a lot of help from the draft, Phil, especially when you're side by side. You pull up behind the truck ahead of you. It'll help propel those 2 trucks past the guy you're racing on the bottom.
More so with these trucks probably than the cars.
Here comes Kyle Busch working to the inside now. We've seen guys making the passes on the high side of this racetrack. Now Kyle Busch goes to the bottom of the racetrack, following in Cole Witt's tire tracks.
And oh, by the way, that puts him up in the top 5. Started back in 14th.
Cole Witt running 4th just in front of him. Right behind him, the 4 of Ricky Carmichael and Austin Dillon in that 3. James Buescher still hugging the white line at the bottom of the racetrack, while a few others have ventured up a little higher around this 1.5 miles.
And I think we're talking about these guys obviously searching for a little more grip. We know there's a lot of grip out there, but this is a fairly abrasive surface when it's warm out. These guys were marveled at the fact that they could run just about the entire practice session wide open.
A new right side compound for tires. The left side's the same as we've had here the previous 2 races, so just a little bit of difference, but really the cooler weather, I think, has made a big difference in the fact that these guys can just hold it on the floor and run as fast as the trucks will let them.
Guys, that last lap, our top 5 trucks ran faster than the old track record that was set last year.
And right now, side by side for the 4th spot, Cole Witt, Kyle Busch, and Busch takes it away. He moves up to the 4th position. There's Steve Arpin, winner of the pole earlier.
Racing with Johnny Sauter. Johnny's been able to make a little progress.
Go down there. You'll be clear in. Clear.
Johnny Sauter, who was up on top of the points for quite a few weeks already this season.
We talked about wide open, Phil. You can hear Johnny letting off a great deal. I think the further back you are from the lead, the more disturbed the air is, the more you're going to have to let off the gas. So trying to, and plus if he's loose, he doesn't want to go in there with his foot flat on the floor. And you can see all 3 of those trucks are moving around considerably. They don't look anything as stable as these cats in the front.
I think the further off you are to the front, the cleaner the air is. And as you mentioned, I was talking to Austin Dillon. He was talking about the dirty air and how that was affecting his truck during practice.
You know, we've got a race within the race. Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch, whenever they have run in a truck race, normally one or the other has been able to make it to victory lane, right?
Well, and Rick, I'll tell you, Kevin Harvick very, very happy with his bad boy buggy Chevrolet. Bruce Cook, his crew chief, just came on the radio and said, "How is it, bud?" He said, "I've had it on the mat since they dropped the rag." So Kevin Harvick, one of those guys that is wide open so far here at Chicago.
And again, we have a tapered spacer underneath the carburetors here, which limits the amount of horsepower that these trucks can turn. That's why they're able to keep the foot flat on the floor.
But that's still about 700 horsepower or something like that. What about that move by Piquet on the outside?
Second.
He's worked the outside of the racetrack since the very start of the race, and he's got it where he likes it.
Yeah, I think that lap traffic might have caused Kligerman to lose a little bit of momentum, and PK jumped on that opportunity, drove to the outside. We know he's comfortable up there, and he took advantage of it.
In the setup, we heard from Miguel Paludo saying he wanted to be the first driver from Brazil to win a NASCAR race, but he knew that his countryman was going to be right there, and right now Nelson Piquet Jr. up into the second spot. So there's another race within the race.
Two fabulous drivers, and I think it's a flip of the coin which one of them gets to victory lane first, but I think one of them will win this year.
Piquet has a second at Nashville, and Paludo has a third, so they've been very, very comparable this year.
Two Brazilians.
Steve Arpin just in front of the 13 of Johnny Sauter. Joey Coulter back there in the 22. Looks like he's had his hands full since the drop of the green flag here tonight. Kevin Harvick now has almost a second lead over Nelson Piquet Jr. Kevin Harvick looking to notch another win in the Camping World Truck Series. Tomorrow it's the final race of the season for the Rolex Sports Car Series, and it's down to a three-way 5-point battle for the GT Championship. It's going to be awesome. Don't miss the Rolex Sports Car Series season finale from Mid-Ohio tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Pacific, only on Speed. Riding along with Ricky Carmichael, you see his hands, arms moving around in that truck.
Quite a ride. Talk about running a pickup truck wide open around a 1.5 mile track at over 180 miles an hour. You better have your hands ready.
He's used to that movement, though, with his background in motocross.
Right.
Michael came on the radio and said, guys, I got to wait on it forever getting off the corner. We really got to make a big adjustment here. They said, how big is the number? He said, let's go with a 7 or 8. So they're talking about a major swing at this monster Chevrolet. Hermie?
Well, Ray, the 8 truck of Nelson Piquet Jr. obviously has a fast truck, but he's listened to some unfamiliar voices in his ear. Rick Corelli, who is longtime spotter for Ron Hornaday in the Camping World Truck Series, is on top of the roof spotting, and he's got a new crew chief in Jeff Hensley. The only thing that Nelson has said is the truck's a little bit loose, and they've instructed him to turn the left rear blower off, and what that will do is will allow that left rear tire to grow a little bit more air and hopefully tighten that truck up. But so far, so good for Nelson Piquet Jr.
I was talking to Jeff Hensley this morning. He said, yeah, we were fortunate enough to win that race in Atlanta a couple weeks ago. He said, and then I changed jobs. Didn't have to go far. He's in the same shop, but now he's become the crew chief, as Hermie mentioned, for Nelson Piquet Jr.
I think Johnny Sauter's trucks begin to tighten up a little bit, Phil. A lot of times you'll have that. The tire pressures build up, and the truck will have a tendency to get tighter as you go through a run, burn some fuel off, and the tendency of the truck is to start to stick better. The front tires, back tires, stick better. And Johnny's taking advantage of that now. He drives into the top 10. We said he couldn't move a spot from when he was 13th early. Now he's moving.
Out in front, it's still Kevin Harvick. He has about a 2.5-second lead over Nelson Piquet Jr. Parker Kligerman now has got to the back bumper of that 8 of Nelson Piquet Jr. They're going to race for second as they split the 0-7 of Caleb Rourke. And the 29 having to get back out of the gas, though, as the 73 of Brian Johnson Jr. becomes a pick there.
And they go down the backstretch just like they were before they did that.
Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff that went on between the two, you know. They were splitting trucks and lapping trucks. Looked like a change of position was going to happen, but they sorted it out. Here comes Kyle, too. He's taking advantage of a little bit of a traffic jam those two faced and beginning to close in on third place Parker Kligerman.
You know, you talk about Johnny Sauter. He's moved up to the 10th spot. But last lap, he was the fastest truck on the racetrack. This lap, the third fastest truck.
And the first fastest was the 2 of Kevin Harvick, who continues to set a blistering pace, now 3.5 seconds in front of Nelson Piquet Jr.
We're the fast 5, you, Phil, Hermie, and Ray.
Yeah. I thought that was what we had a DVD coming out October 4th that was us, but maybe not. Ray Dunlap.
Well, I wanted to give you an update real quick here on this number 60 truck for Cole Witt. He has come on the radio and said, guys, the temperature is climbing. It's up to 245 right now on that Fuel Doctor and Red Bull Chevrolet. And remember, last time when he came on the radio and said that same thing, it was about 3 more laps before the engine expired. So They're hoping that they can get a caution here quickly and check the front grille. It was interesting in practice earlier today. I saw a number of trucks that had grass up on the front grille, and I was like, I don't have any idea where that came from, but it was at least 3 or 4 trucks in the garage area where they had to clean grass off the front of the grille. Very high temperature right now for truck number 60.
Kevin Harvick going by Max Pappas, putting him a lap down, as he also goes by Brian Silas to put him a lap down. Kevin Harvick continues to set a blistering pace. 3.5 seconds the difference between Harvick and Nelson Piquet Jr. Nelson Piquet Jr., one of those drivers that wants to get to victory lane. His closest finish was second. Can he make it a win tonight at Chicagoland? Well, he'll have to get by a man who's gone to victory lane 12 times in the trucks, and that is Kevin Harvick.
Welcome back to the Fast Five, 2:25. Our leader is coming down pit road. Bruce Cook, his crew chief, just asked him, do you want any adjustments? Harvick was talking about doing wedge, and then he said he had turned on his left rear fan, and that made the truck much better. How about Kyle Busch, Hermie?
You know, Ray, Kyle Busch was coming on that 43, but when they heard the 2 truck get the call, they brought Kyle down pit road. 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, air pressure adjustment. He's tight in the center, Ray.
Go. 4-tire adjustment here, 4-tire change for Kevin Harvick. A number of trucks saying they could go another 6 or 7 laps. So interesting here to see how long this pit window will be. Harvick will easily be the first one off pit road ahead of Kyle Busch by a good margin. But a number of trucks also coming down pit road at the other end, Hermie.
Trucks, the 4 of Ricky Carmichael. Carmichael looks like he's getting ready for a 4-tire stop.
You know, Ray mentioned during our commercial break that some guys were talking about coming in the pits, and I said, man, there's no way, it's so early. Now, granted, these trucks had to qualify as we have a battle for the lead here between Piquet and Kligerman. I'm sorry, that's Kligerman lapping David Starr. But I thought it was awfully early. These trucks can probably go 50 couple laps. But and once Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch came down pit road, Ray, looks like maybe Parker Kligerman maybe slowing to come into pit road, Ray.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys going to get in here and find out exactly what their window is on the first time. We just saw Miguel Paludo leave pit road. He said he was a little tight through the entry, and they're making some big adjustments on our pole sitter, Steve Arpin's Mike Hart Lemonade Chevrolet. They added a spring rubber and also made big swings on the track bar. 22 of Joey Coulter also in. You see, they made a wedge adjustment going to the left side, and they will get 4 tires on that one. And our pole sitter, Parker Kligerman, Parker Kligerman, real tight there on Coulter. The 29 is pulling into the pits, and I just heard on the radio that the 60 truck is out of gas, and we see the 60 is coasting into his pit right now as they finish those adjustments on the Chicagoland Dodge for the number 29. Hermie?
Well, Ray, James Busher, the 31 truck, is on pit road. His truck is tight. A small air pressure adjustment on the left side, 4-tire Sunoco fuel. Also, Nelson Piquet Jr. gives up a top 5 spot on the racetrack to come to pit road. He's been working on a loose condition with his truck. They're doing an air pressure adjustment as well. Johnny Sauter also been slowly moving his way through the front of the pack. Started off very, very loose, but as he got further up the racetrack in running order, his truck tightened up. No adjustments for Johnny Sauter.
Thanks, guys. Great work. Kevin Harvick gave up the lead on lap 40. It went to Parker Kligerman. He led 3 laps. Nelson Piquet Jr. led a lap. Austin Dillon has led a lap. Now he is on pit road. Todd Bodine in the number 5 will go out in front of this field at Chicagoland, right?
So Dillon heads down to pit road on lap 45, a 5-lap window, different than when Kevin Harvick came in here on 40. Austin Dillon had said earlier that his truck is very bouncy, especially when he's on the bottom groove. He's a little bit loose in. They're going to do 4 tires, an air pressure adjustment on the right front. They'll hang 4 on this Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet, stuff it full of fuel, and Dillon back to the racetrack.
Todd Bodine, was one of those trucks that pitted on that caution early. He has 12 more laps of gas than the rest of these cats, so he could lead this race for a while. Maybe hopefully catch a caution, put some guys in a bind. See Parker Kligerman there trying to get back on the lead lap.
Right now Parker's being shown in the 9th position,
and we saw Bodine go by Austin Dillon, so that'll put Austin probably in 10th or 11th, and everybody from there back will be a lap down. So could be a big break here for Todd Bodine if the caution were to fly.
And Brendan Gaughan is another one of those trucks, as well as David Starr, Max Pappas, that pitted on that earlier caution. There's Brendan Gaughan right there. Brendan is running in the second spot. Matt Crafton, who's trying to pass Brendan, is right now being shown a lap down in 9th.
You can see Todd Bodine just up ahead, man. And when you're that close to being on the lead lap, you want to go grab that spot, get that over with, so you don't have to worry about a caution trapping you.
So Bodine, Brendan Gaughan, David Starr, Kevin Harvick, Max Pappas, Kyle Busch, Nelson Piquet Jr., and Parker Kligerman. They are your top 8, and they are on the lead lap. So Bodine, again, who pitted earlier in this race after our first caution, came on to pit road, and he has been able to stay out and lead a few laps here at Chicagoland. But the fastest truck on the racetrack is Parker Kligerman in that number 29, currently running in the 8th spot. Thursday, Barrett Jackson, the collector car event that makes automotive dreams come true, returns to Sin City. See the finest, rarest, and most amazing cars on the planet all in one place and all up for grabs. Live coverage from Las Vegas begins Thursday, 4 Eastern, exclusively on Speed.
You know, Elvis was there last year. You know that?
I'll take that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, he was there. I was there last year.
You were hanging out with Elvis?
Well, not so much Elvis, but I was hanging out with you.
You know, Phil, I'm impressed with the speed that Todd Bodine has. He didn't put tires on when he pitted on lap 10 or
11,
whatever
12,
it was.
whatever. Yeah.
And you saw, but we've seen Matt Crafton really struggle to get by Brendan Gaughan. Finally caught our leader, Todd Bodine, but he raced side by side with him for a long time. That might mean a strategy play later in this race. You know, these guys, the crew chiefs down there are all taking notes and saying, Todd's pretty fast on those old tires. Maybe we can stay out and grab a spot or two late in the going.
So Austin trying to do the same thing, trying to get by Todd to unlap himself. And why that's so important is if the caution flag were to come out, then they would be able to drive back around and catch up with the back of the field. They would take the wave around anyway, but it would be much better to get that thing done on your own before the caution comes out.
Yeah, you give up a lot of track position when you take the wave around. You got to start at the back of the field.
And you're not allowed to pit either.
Right, you get on the lead lap on your own. Like you said, you come to the pit road, you can make some adjustments, you can change some things. It opens up your options quite a lot.
We just were taking a look at the gap between first and second and the third racing truck, and right now Kevin Harvick has been able to get by David Starr for that third spot. Again, Harvick was on pit road on lap 40. Brendan Gaughan, Todd Bodine, David Starr, all drivers that came onto pit road around lap 11 or 12, so they're about 2 or 3 laps away from having to come to pit road.
Yeah, and last time by, Rick, Todd Bodine ran a 31.80. Harvick only ran a 31.60 on those newer tires, so that's impressive what Todd's doing right now. David Starr hadn't been able to keep that pace up so much. He was down in the mid-32s last time by, so he's got some work to do on his truck, but I like Todd right now.
And Brennan also, he's just a little bit behind Todd. He ran over 31.60 that last lap.
David Starr's made his way onto pit road. You see him on the right side of your screen. As the battle continues, sounds like the 4 of Ricky Carmichael has problems. You see the smoke coming out from behind that truck.
Well, that's going to be exactly what we talked about. Exactly what we talked about. There's going to be a lot of trucks that are going to have to take the wave around. Brendan Gaughan actually had just come to pit road.
Pop the hood, guys. Get ready.
We saw Austin Dillon alongside our leader, Todd Bodine, maybe thinking he might have that spot away from Todd and will get on the lead lap on his own. If not, he will be our Aaron's lucky dog.
Only 5 trucks scored on the lead lap right now. Todd Bodine, Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Nelson Piquet Jr., and Parker Kligerman.
And that will be better than a wave around because you will be able to pit. Here's Ricky Carmichael in that monster Chevrolet. Looks like he's losing an engine.
Smoke rolling out from underneath the 4, bringing out our second caution of the night.
Don't see a great deal of oil or fluid coming out from under that truck.
Must have not blown totally up. They must have an oil leak because they're looking like maybe they can fix it. Look at the oil running out of it. You see it on the ground there? Yeah. So NASCAR had to throw the caution. See the fluid on pit road.
Right in front of that front tire there.
Support our troops. I love that.
Yeah. Great move by NASCAR and Goodyear. Do that again.
Mike Waltrip Racing had a couple of guests up at Richmond. The wife of one of the troops that was on the plane, on the helicopter that went down over in Afghanistan, Stacy Workman.
Take it behind the wall.
Visiting
Take it behind the wall. Where's
it
the
was
next
a real
opening?
patriotic weekend up in Richmond. A lot of love for our
here.
troops, and this is another example of how much NASCAR appreciates everything our men and women abroad and in our country do for our protection.
And a hard left turn for Ricky Carmichael and that number 4 team, as we see Todd Bodine making his way onto pit road now.
How good's that feel for Todd? Yeah. Caution's out. I think I'll go pit now.
Let's go down pit road and Herbie Sadler.
Well, Kyle Busch is going to come in for a splash of fuel only. No tires on this stop. Also, other guys on that same plan will be Nelson Piquet Jr. May in the pit road. Ray?
Watch Todd Bodine's truck here as they go to work on this thing. They're going to hang tires on it, and they're also going to make an adjustment on the rear Romeo window. Watch the guy who's standing on this side. He is going to pull the glass off of there and make an adjustment and change the angle of that Romeo window. It is a piece of plexiglass that sits on the back of the truck, and that will change the way this truck handles and how much side force they have. They're actually going to put a different one on there, so they'll pull the old Romeo window off and put a different size one on, and that will be a big adjustment. They continue to make this, and Mike Hillman Jr. said to him, we can make this adjustment because there's only 9 trucks on the lead lap, so take your time and do it right.
There's that Romeo window that Ray was talking about. Just a little piece of plexiglass. We'll be back with more racing from Chicagoland after this. Wednesday night, the car show's all new as Adam puts his driving skills to the test at the world-famous Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. Don't miss an all-new episode. That's the car show, Wednesday night, 10 Eastern, only on Speed. You know, Wednesdays is must-watch TV on Speed. Dumbest Things on Wheels.
Yeah,
that's a funny show now. I'm
car
on it.
show.
I make my way home for that.
Yeah.
Make sure I'm at home when that comes on. I like to see that because I've done some pretty dumb things on wheels.
There's some of that stuff, though, I don't think I would even do.
No, I would be smart enough not to try it. I hit the wall going down the straightaway.
Well, this really isn't dumb. This is just a mishap right here. Take a look at where the guy puts the jack.
Doesn't quite get it under the stop there. Just slipped off the edge. There's a little piece of trim there, a little piece of side skirt that covers the majority of that area. There just leaves enough room to get the jack in. He's going to have to take that off so it doesn't hang there. But
look at that left front tire gets away now, Phil.
It's going to be a slow pit stop for Kevin. But again, just a handful of trucks on pit road there. And as we talked about, Austin Dillon will be there in Sluggy Dog, and that will be a huge advantage for him. He didn't have to take the waiver on. He was able to come to pit road.
Just think about, though, the changing that plexiglass on the back of the 5 truck of Todd Bodine. They decided they needed to change the arrow on that truck. Well, they just changed the arrow on Kevin Harvick's truck by taking some of that side skirt off. If you're just going to barely adjust that Romeo window, well, then you don't need to be messing with your side skirt, so that could be a factor.
We'll be back for the green flag here at Chicagoland. Speed's coverage of NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you in high definition by Funai. Funai, fun and innovative. Experience more at FunaiAmerica.com. By Stable Fuel Stabilizer. When you store, start with Stable. By the 100% reinvented Ford Explorer. Drive one. And by Aaron's. You don't need credit. All you need is Aaron's. And welcome back to Chicagoland Speedway. 2 cautions have come out here. We've gone 9 laps under caution as we're getting ready for the green flag to come back out once again.
Massive amount of wave rounds. About 12 trucks are going to take advantage of the wave around rule.
11 of them will take the wave around. 1 gets the Aaron's Lucky Dog. So 12 really trucks are affected by this caution coming out.
A huge break since they went to the double file restart and they instituted the wave around.
Cleans up the front of the field. It's a perfect rule. Got the leader on the front row just like he's supposed to be. Those guys get a break, catch a break by having track position, so they're rewarded for that. But in the history of the world, just getting to pass the pace car as a race car driver is like maybe one of the coolest things ever. You know, back in the day, you rarely ever got to do that, and if you did, it was felt like a bonus, and these guys get to do it every week. So. I was talking about the aerodynamic differences. They did that little adjustment on Todd Bodine's back of his truck, and that was on purpose. Well, they accidentally tore off Kevin's side skirt. It could affect that truck.
Hey, take a look at this. This is Wayne Auton. He's our series director for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series at the announcement where The Rock is now going to be on the schedule in the 2012 season. The reason we're showing you this is because Wayne Auton is directing his 400th NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race.
And he's directed all of them with such passion. I just love the way he goes about doing his job. He cares. He loves the truck.
Loves this series. Absolutely loves it.
Congratulations to Wayne Auton. Green flag back in the air. Kyle Busch, Nelson Piquet Jr., 1 and 2.
Remember now, Kyle Busch did not put tires on this time. We saw Kevin Harvick put tires on his number 2 truck.
And look at the move that Piquet's making down on the bottom. He's able to get a nose out in front of Kyle down in 1 and 2.
Austin Dillon goes way to the high side to get around some of the lap trucks.
3 wide, battling down the backstretch.
Look at that glide.
4 wide as they go down the backstretch into turn 3.
James Buescher's going to emerge through the middle of that group.
Drives around the outside of Hornaday. Good corner for Buescher.
The high side has been the faster way around traffic in the early stages of this race.
Look who's surfaced at the top. Kyle and Kevin, imagine that.
Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick running 1 and 2. Parker Kligerman runs 3rd. Nelson Piquet Jr., Todd Bodine rounding out the top 5.
How long will Kevin want to stay behind there?
He didn't ever want to be behind there to start with, and I'd say he'll be very aggressive in trying to do away with Kyle. And Parker Kligerman's got a really fast truck. He's been able to hang right there with those guys. So if Kevin doesn't make a move quickly, Parker might make one.
And Piquet has had a strong truck this entire race too. So right now he's lost a little bit of space to the top 3.
Because of the free pass and the wave arounds, we have 15 trucks on the lead lap. The first one a lap down is Cole Witt. We have 7 trucks off of the racetrack. J.J. Yeley, Mike Garvey, Brent Raymer, Dennis Setzer, David Stremme, Chris Jones, and Mike Harmon. This is the battle for the lead. Kyle Busch just in front of Kevin Harvick. The gap that time by 1/10 of a second.
And this is pretty much of a photograph of this series, especially over the last 3 years when, Kyle gets a little bit loose, opens up the bottom for Kevin.
Side by side, they go down the backstretch. Can Harvick get the nose in front of that 18 and make the pass? Here comes the 18 of Busch back on the high side.
Wow, that 2 truck is strong, isn't he? Just able to hold it right down to the bottom and make that pass.
So Kyle wiggling a little bit up there in the bumps in 3 and 4. Remember, he's on the same tires. He did not change tires this last caution flag.
Look at Miguel Pluto. He's off the track in the race. We saw him do that during qualifying. He took advantage of it right there. Shoves Ron Hornaday up the track. Looks like he's going to get around Sauter and go after Buescher. All in one corner. That was a big corner for Miguel.
Johnny Sauter got a little bit loose, had to chase his truck up the racetrack. So Buescher just in front of Miguel Paludo. Johnny Sauter. Saw a great battle taking place between Parker Kligerman and Kyle Busch for the 2nd spot. Here it is once again. Kligerman on the inside, Kyle Busch on the outside.
You called it, Michael. Parker Kligerman has a great truck here this evening. A brand new truck there for Brad Keselowski Racing.
Look how loose he gets down on the bottom. We've seen Parker have some issues when he gets pinned at the bottom. Spun that truck out a couple times this year. Caused some big crashes. He needs to be careful right now because he's in a bad position.
He was on the inside of Mark Martin. Was it Michigan? He was on the inside of Mark, racing for 2nd. Lost control.
I think he maybe did it at Dover too. There's been a couple of times that he's had that thing get away from him in exactly that same situation right there.
And almost cleared Kyle Busch, but look at how much room Kyle Busch is giving this young driver in the Camping World Truck Series. He's not riding right down on his outside door. He's able to give him some room. That doesn't take as much air off of the rear spoiler.
That's self-preservation. Kyle knows he's spun out a couple times down there as well, and he doesn't want to take a chance on being wiped out. So that's just a veteran driver making a smart move.
And Kyle's a student of this sport too. He knows, as you mentioned, he knows that. He knows that Parker had run into trouble a couple times there, and he's going to give him that extra room because, as Michael said, it's a little bit of self-preservation. He wants to make sure that he's around at the end of this race so he can battle that 2-truck Kevin Harvick.
While those two were running side by side, Kevin Harvick put a 1.5 seconds between he and 2nd place Kyle Busch. Kligerman, Piquet Jr., and Bodine, your top 5. Buescher, Paludo, Sauter, Dillon, and Hornaday in the top 10. Racing Electronics is offering speed viewers a year-long inside deal. Reserve your next race scanner or fan view online for any NASCAR race and save $10. Visit speed.com/deals click on the Racing Electronics banner for more information. We ride along with Johnny Sauter. We're not able to let you hear what he's been saying on the radio, but he's not happy at all with his truck.
Left rear flat on David Starr. That's a painful feeling, trying to get back to the pit. Just now off turn 2, he's got to come all the way around this racetrack, Phil.
Yeah, and he was one of the trucks that was on the lead lap. Some good strategy by David Starr and Jason Miller and his guys.
Down on the apron, the caution has not come out. Looks as though he'll be able to make it back to pit road. And the tire looks like it might be,
if it comes apart, that'll probably bring a caution out. Right now, just some small bits of rubber. We may be okay. We may stay green. Whatever rubber came off is well off the racing line.
Down on the apron, and David Starr makes his way onto pit road. Crafton and Hornaday battling for the 10th spot.
Jason White looking at those guys.
2 years ago battled for a championship in this series. Jay White just behind the two.
All those trucks on the lead lap, racing for 10th, 11th, and 12th. Right now we have 14 trucks on the lead lap.
You think this is what caused the flat tire on David Starr? Does Timothy Peters get a little bit loose and rub David?
Definitely catches that left rear.
That definitely, I would say, was the reason why that tire went flat.
Probably ripped the valve stem out of that wheel.
We talked about Parker Kligerman getting a little bit loose on the inside of trucks. Even veterans like Timothy Peters can have that happen as well. That's just really a hard position to find yourself in. And Timothy got sideways and hit David. David didn't do anything wrong. He wound up with a flat tire.
Bad boy buggies of Kevin Harvick out in front of Kyle Busch, driving that Dollar General Toyota Tundra, running in the 2nd spot. Parker Kligerman runs 3rd. Todd Bodine, James Buescher in the top 5.
Cole Witt's got a really fast truck too, Rick. He's off the pace a lap, but darn, the thing is flying. He's hanging right with our leaders.
You know, you saw a flash of the 4 of Ricky Carmichael. He's back out on the racetrack. We saw smoke coming out from underneath that truck. Ray, what was the deal? I know there's 7 laps down now.
Well, that was lap 60, Rick, when that last caution came out, and it's because Ricky Carmichael had run over some debris and it cut an oil line, but they have repaired that and he's back out. But right now there is debris on the racetrack, and that brings out another caution here. So interesting dilemma for some of these guys. Just 20-some laps into this run. Guys from the booth, what do you do?
Well, if I'm Kevin, I stay on my tires. I'm gonna need those later. Kyle Busch has an extra set. Maybe he comes with no more trucks that are on the lead lap. Maybe he comes and gets some tires still. What do you think?
I think I might want to try to get a little fuel here. And we know we can't make it from here, but we can go a lot longer. We don't want to be caught having to take a waiver on because we had to pit under green.
There's 14 on the lead lap. Where is the number or the line where the guys decide I'm far enough back in this lead lap group, I'll come to pit road?
I think they're all going to come.
Yeah, it'll just be a variance of whether they get tires or not. Okay. Kevin won't. I don't think Harvick will get any tires, but he'll certainly get gas. Kyle will be the opposite. He'll get tires and gas.
Pit road's still closed right now. They remain on the racetrack. Great break for Cole Witt. We saw how fast his truck was.
Yeah, we were just talking about him.
Yeah, and he's going to get that Aaron's Lucky Dog. He was running in line track position wise right behind our 3rd place truck of Parker Kligerman. So he's got a fast race truck.
And Aaron's is going to give him the lucky pass. Unbelievable. Because of his speed.
They just give him away. They just give him away.
Very, very generous. Well, Sunday, NASCAR race day breezes into Chicago, the Windy City. As the chase begins, Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Carl Edwards, they'll join us live. Plus, don't miss an exclusive performance by Darius Rucker. NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot. Sunday, 11 Eastern, live on Speed.
Darius sang at my 40th birthday party.
You're 40?
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Cole Witt gets the Aaron's Lucky Dog. I can't believe Phil just said that.
It slipped out. It slipped out. I apologize.
I understand. That came from a man who tore his calf up playing racquetball because he's in denial that he's as old as he is.
Well, Kevin Harvick out in front of the 14 that are on the lead lap. As you just saw, the Aaron's Lucky Dog goes to Cole Witt. That'll make it 15 on the lead lap. We would expect when pit road opens up, it will get busy with these lead lap trucks. Sure enough,
here they all
pit
come.
Pit road is open. Yep. They're all coming on to pit road. Let's go to Herming.
Well, Kyle Busch brings his truck to pit road. They did not get tires last time. They will get them this time. Kyle says he needs to be a little bit snugger on entry and exit. He can run the truck better that way. He's had to make up some ground. 4 tires, air pressure adjustment. Sunoco feel a little bit of trouble with the left rear. It's going to be a slow stop for Kyle Busch, Ray.
Well, they had to go Sunoco fuel for Kevin Harvick because they were so far into this run, they just couldn't take a chance. If he stayed out, everybody would have pit. He came in at the bottom of your screen. You see Parker Kligerman. He's still a little bit loose off the corners. They're going to put a spring rubber in there and 4 tires for the number 29.
As you mentioned, the differing pit strategy. The 2 truck of Kevin Harvick, no tires this time around. Kyle Busch puts tires on.
And remember, a great break for those that took the wave around.
Certainly.
They'll get flag. You're on speed.
It's Camping World's Destination Recreation.
Hello, Camping World. Yes, hi, ma'am. My name is Ray. Yep. Oh, you did? You bought an RV from us? Fantastic. Well, there's lots of great things that goes with that. I just want to let you know. As a complimentary thing, we'll give you a membership to our President's Club, and that gets you 10 to 15% off. Yep, that's nice. And we're going to give you a free 1-year subscription to the Highways magazine. Yeah, I know. And what's really great is now that we've teamed up with Good Sam, there's all kinds of great discounts with them for roadside assistance, and we've got Camping World Vacation Club. Yep, I know. That's fantastic. See, what people don't realize is we don't just sell RVs here. We've got accessories, warranties, roadside assistance, and all those other great functions. Fantastic. Glad. Well, we hope to see you soon. And do remember, ma'am, our service department is closed on Sundays. All right. Thank you so much for the call. Well, the good news is if this TV thing doesn't work out, at least I've got a backup plan.
I wondered what Ray did during the weekdays.
You know, when I look at Good Sam, I just feel
By the way, he doesn't know how to type. So.
I totally feel happy and think I'm safe. And Ray reminds me of that. He just was so pleasing. That lady had the best conversation ever.
Welcome back to Chicagoland. Green flag back in the air.
Jason White doesn't get going on top.
That truck's smoking now, too, Michael.
Is that just dust, or is he got it in there probably?
Jason White not up to speed in the 23. He stays up high.
It
that didn't sound good at all.
Yeah, I got him in the pool.
It's not good. Kevin Harvick, though, he doesn't have a problem out in front. Todd Bodine running second. Kyle Busch is third. Nelson Piquet Jr. and James Buescher, your top 5. Running the high line, the 18 of Kyle Busch.
Remember, fresh tires on that 18 truck of Kyle Busch.
Nelson Piquet Jr. also up on the top side of the racetrack. Side by side with Austin Dillon.
This truck of Todd Bodine's is able to run up there with Harvick and hold that second spot. That Romeo window adjustment, the Romeo window is a piece of plexiglass that sits on the rear bed that helps aerodynamic stability. Chuck Romeo was a NASCAR official. He's the one that came up with that to help the trucks handle better. You know, they went in there and adjusted that truck using that Romeo window. That could be the adjustment of the year if it works.
That's a great shot of it right there. The old one they took off stuck up over that International Tundra, that roll bar. This one's a little bit shorter. It means a little more rear downforce as we watch Kyle Busch go by on the outside. But that's a great adjustment. But we've seen those adjustments over the years from Mike Hillman Jr. and that crew and really turn an average truck into a superior truck.
Now Nelson Piquet Jr. comes up to the back of that 5 of Todd Bodine. Will try to take third away from Bodine.
That's what you call thinking out of the box. We're not just going to put you a spring rubber in or change your air pressure. We're going to change your little window on the back of your truck.
Austin Dillon able to get by the 29 of Parker Kligerman. Kligerman, who was so strong early in this race, dropping back. He currently runs in the 10th spot.
Parker lost a little bit of ground on pit road while he put 4 tires on. Still running well up into the top 10.
Harvick, Busch, Bodine, Piquet Jr. and Busch are your top 5. Dillon, Crafton, Hornaday, Kligerman, and Sauter is your top 10.
Whoa. Piquet Jr. nearly hit the outside wall exiting 4. Todd run him up a little bit, and I think Piquet was a little bit late to make the adjustment, and that thing almost hit the outside wall. But he's fast up there, Phil. think maybe if he can get around Todd, the adjustments that team has made to that truck, he might have something for number 2 up there that's having things to his own right now.
This last lap, our 3rd place truck of Todd Bodine, a 5th place truck of Austin Dillon, both ran their fastest laps of the entire race.
Here, Bodine pinching that 8 of Nelson Piquet Jr. down on the racetrack as those two go side by side for position. That's for the 3rd spot on the racetrack. And up the racetrack goes Nelson Piquet Jr. catching that truck before it got into the wall.
Just what we were talking about, a truck on the inside loses that downforce off that rear spoiler. Piquet did a nice job catching that truck.
Now Austin Dillon looks to the inside. Nelson Piquet Jr. back up to the high side of the racetrack. That's where he was making his moves early on.
You see how close that truck was to the wall? That's what they do about every lap. Just barely miss the wall on the exit of the turn.
Just under 180 miles an hour around this 1.5 mile racetrack.
Yeah, can you believe that? In pickup trucks.
And inches away from that outside wall.
You can see PK's a lot faster than Todd Bodine. Made up that distance he lost off turn 2 in 1 lap. He's going to sneak to the bottom again.
Bobbles again.
Looks about like the same result there. Worked the same.
Has his hands full as he doesn't seem to have a truck that handles as well on the bottom of the racetrack as it does up on the high side of the track. But he looks like he's so close to making that pass on Todd Bodine, but then running on the bottom of the track just makes it more difficult. We saw the 23 of Jason White coming back out on the racetrack.
We saw the 3 truck of Austin Dillon pull up behind Piquet going in turn number 1, gave him a little bit of a push. Watch that truck bounce and shake.
Nelson Piquet Jr. had to avoid the 57 of Norm Benning, slower on the racetrack and on the bottom.
I don't think Nelson's going to give up. Do you, Phil?
No, I don't think so either. And I think Austin's going to try to go to the high side this time maybe and follow Todd.
Just can't quite get there. Look at Todd. Looks like his truck might be a little bit tight, pushing in the turns, going up high on the exit, whereas PK's able to hold his to the bottom.
This is where Todd Bodine is so smart as a veteran. He knows that Nelson Piquet Jr. has been running so well up high. He decides to run high.
Well, Nelson made it work on the bottom. What a solid move. I think it'd be interesting to see what kind of ground he can make on our 2 leaders. That's a good truck to be able to make that power move.
So Piquet Jr. takes 3rd away from Todd Bodine. Now the 3 of Austin Dillon looking to take 4th away from Bodine. Bodine continuing to run that high line just behind these 2, the 29 of Parker Kligerman. All running in the top 10.
Remember, all these teams will have to make at least 1 more pit stop. Nobody can make it from when they last pitted on lap number 84.
17 on the lead lap, Caleb Rourke. And that 07 running in the 17th spot, Steve Arpin, our pole sitter, 1 lap down in 18th. Kevin Harvick has a 0.7 of a second lead over Kyle Busch, and Austin Dillon able to get by Todd Bodine for position. So Dillon moves up into the 4th spot. There's the gap between 1 and 2. Kevin Harvick leading, looking to make it 13 wins in the Camping World Truck Series and continue the streak KHI has in this series. Welcome back to Fast 5 225 has been dominated by the 2 trucks. 74 laps led by Kevin Harvick. Todd Bodine's been out front 14 times, 14 laps. Kyle Busch has led 9 laps. Kligerman 3 laps. Austin Dillon has been out front for 2 laps.
Guys, we were away. That 31 truck, the Exide Chevrolet of our point leader James Busher, made an unscheduled pit stop. Hermie, what was the deal?
Well, Phil, they're still trying to figure it out. James Busher reported on the radio he thought he had a left rear tire going down. The truck all of a sudden got very, very loose, but they've come down pit road, put 4 tires on, got the tires off the truck, and have yet to decipher what the issue is. The air pressure is still up in these 4 tires, and now James is saying a little bit of a vibration as well. So they are trying to diagnose exactly what's going on with the 31 truck, but apparently no issue with the tires.
Could be a huge break if this race continues to go green, because James Busher will be able to make it from the end. He pitted with 51 laps to go. He should be able to make it that far.
They'll be right on the edge.
They'll be right on the edge. But look how this affects the points now. James Busher came in here leading by 12. Look how this would jumble the points if the race were to end right now.
How about our new top 5 from last week with Ron Hornaday joining the battle for this championship. I got to put him in the battle, don't you? I mean, he's in the hunt.
I'd written him off before last week. I said Hornaday's out of it. There's no way.
As they're running on the racetrack, the point leader is Johnny Sauter by 1 point over Austin Dillon and by 2 points over James Busher. Who needs to reset the field?
We're
Not
in
the
our
truck
chase,
series.
baby.
That's right.
We got the chase going on in the trucks. James needs it to stay green here for a while. He's only 1 lap down. Clip his way up through some of those lap down trucks, get a lucky dog, catch a break, and have everyone else pit would be his best case scenario. Man, that's a lot for a young man to have on his shoulders. Leading the points, all of a sudden his truck goes crazy loose. What do? If you don't pit and the thing goes flat, you crash your truck. You take a chance and come to pit road, and it could bite you as well.
And he's smart to know that something happened, something changed. Now maybe it was a loose wheel. You know, maybe it wasn't a soft tire, but I think he's better off. Hey, we know we have a wave around. If this thing goes green, we'll probably be able to make it on fuel. It's not necessarily the end of the world if he makes an unscheduled pit stop.
Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, I just want to get the advice from the guys up there in the booth of what they would do if this thing does stay green. Remember, guys, we pitted down here at lap 85, and I'm hearing lots of radio contact back and forth as crew chiefs are discussing what to do down here. It could be within 15 laps of the end of this race when they have to pit. So do you go fuel only? Do you put right sides on? The 29 just said they want to go with rights, but a couple other people saying they may do fuel only. It could be a green flag stop that determines the winner of this race.
Ray, the most I'm going to do is put on 2 tires. It all depends on how much fuel I need. If I'm 15 laps short, I know that's about 1/3 of a fuel run. I'm going to need about 6 or 7 gallons. I may just gamble on no tires because these tires aren't falling off like we've seen them fall off here in the past because of the weather.
The only thing that could bite you in that scenario, Phil, is if someone does get 4 tires, they lose a great deal of ground under green, but then if there's a caution with 5 or 6 laps to go and you got a cat that's got better tires, he could go up there and make the thing interesting. If I'm Kevin Harvick, I'm thinking I'm going to get right side tires just so I think right side tires I can beat anybody on 4 tires with this truck today. But if someone gets 4 and I don't get any, it might be tough for Kevin Harvick to win with.
There you see Kevin Harvick coming up on Dakota Armstrong, Jack Smith. What was that 09 of Brian Silas?
There's always so much going on. How are we going to win one of these darn things? We've got so much drama.
Lap traffic coming into play now is Kevin Harvick trying to put a few more trucks, a couple more laps down. Kyle Busch running second, PK Jr. and Dillon in your top 5. We're away for 90 seconds. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Fast 5. 225 continues under green flag conditions. We're riding along with Austin Dillon as we look back on Nelson Piquet Jr. Austin Dillon was able to take the position away from Piquet Jr. He moves up into the 3rd spot. Piquet Jr. couldn't get around the slower lap traffic as well as Austin Dillon did.
Yeah, Austin used that lap traffic to his advantage. Dakota Armstrong was on the high side, which is where Piquet was. Piquet got blocked in behind Dakota, and Austin was able to take advantage of that and get that 3rd spot.
You know, just about every lap, Kyle and Kevin are running pretty much the same times. That last time by 31.75 compared to 7.9 for Busch. But PK's been able to run laps faster than him, but yet he got sideways a couple of times. It gave Austin Dillon a chance to grab that 3rd spot away. Be interesting to see if Austin can now go up there and battle those two. Looked like PK was going to get there. Got a little bit loose and lost some ground.
This last lap, PK went right back to the 31.70s, just like our 2 leaders are running. He was a little bit quicker than Austin was. This time Austin runs the quickest lap at a 31.688. He's about 1/10.5 faster than Kevin that lap.
These two have been battling really hard for that 10th spot. Ron Hornaday's got the 10th spot, and Cole Witt's determined to take it.
Remember, Cole just got the Aaron's Lucky Dog, our last caution flag, to get back on the lead lap.
There are 14 on the lead lap. Joey Coulter last pitted on lap 59 before he was just on pit road on lap 116, so he had to come to pit road in a fuel situation.
James Busher has made his way up through most of those trucks that were 1 down. He's only got to get 2 more, Phil, and he'll be in a position to get his Aaron's Lucky Dog. And man, what a point battle we have. I know he needs to get that baby back, but it's pretty interesting how tight things are right now.
Right now, as they run, he has got the point lead back if the race were to end. 2 points ahead of Johnny Sauter and Austin Dillon. A tie for second right now.
that position. Johnny Sauter again running second. Austin Dillon third, and the 17 of Timothy Peters fourth in the point standings. Ron Hornaday right there on your screen. He is fifth in the point standings, 41 points back.
Moving ever so much closer to that point lead.
And a fifth championship in the Camping World Truck Series. Unprecedented numbers for Ron Hornaday after just winning our most recent race, putting his win total up to 49 wins in this series.
He'd probably like to get one more, wouldn't he?
I think 50 would be a pretty good number.
He probably would like to get a bunch more, but the next one would be big.
They continue to battle for that 10th spot, while Harvick and Busch have 2.2 seconds separating them up in the front of the field. Nelson Piquet Jr., Todd Bodine on your screen, running in the 4th and 5th position. Bodine now trying to get by Nelson Piquet Jr. Piquet Jr. seems to be dropping back now, not running as strong as he was earlier in this race.
I'll tell you, that 5 truck of Bodine is coming on. He was the faster truck on the racetrack. The last lap, he ran down in the 60s. That lap, as he tried to get by Piquet, he ran in the 70s.
And that's interesting, too. Like I said, maybe the smartest adjustment on pit road tonight, for sure, that team made. His truck looked loose on that restart, too, Phil. We saw him get loose a couple of times, so that team affected the truck in a positive direction, for sure. Now that there's a few laps on the tires, he's able to, like you said, clip off some of the fastest laps of the race right now.
Todd Bodine still looking for his first win of 2011. He has won every season that he has run in the Camping World Truck Series. And he only has 7 races after this one if he can't get to victory lane tonight.
And Michael, I think it's time for maybe panic to set in a little bit. He's never gone this far into the season, I don't think, without a win. And he said, man, when am I going to get another one? We talked earlier how good he is on the mountain hats. We have 4 of them left now, this being one of the 4.
I think panic set in back this summer when he didn't know if he had a ride or not.
Yeah, probably.
Got out of that 30 truck and wound up finding a ride in this 5 truck. So it hasn't been the typical smooth Todd Bodine season. Certainly nothing compared to last year's season, but he seems to have found his rhythm again, running in the top 5 here.
The guy that has found his rhythm seems to be Kyle Busch, Hermie.
Yeah, I just spoke to Rick Reed, the general manager at Kyle Busch Motorsports, talking about fuel, and I said, when have you got to pit for fuel? He said, Hermie, we'll be out of fuel on lap 131, which is 9 laps. But he says as soon as that 2 truck comes to pit road, we're going to follow him and try to make it a race off pit road, so to speak. But 131 is going to be it for fuel for the 18.
Hey guys, that's only 8 laps from now, so we're getting down to it. James Buescher is crossing his fingers, hoping that these guys make green flag pit stops.
James Buescher had to come on to pit road, thought he had a tire issue. So when he came on to pit road, he went a lap down. He's running in the 16th spot, 1 lap down. Steve Arpin is 14th a lap down. Max Pappas is 15th a lap down. And actually, Buescher has just been able to get by Max Pappas, moves up into that 15th spot.
What about Cole Witt finally making his way around Hornaday, and he's going to have to deal with the lap trucks?
You have to go all the way around. Brian Silas in the 09. He's able to make it, and he grabs that spot from Hornaday.
Takes the 10th spot away from Ron Hornaday. Is Hornaday now behind the 09 of Brian Silas. We'll go to the inside to try to get by that slower lap traffic.
And Ron's going to make that pass. He's just been loose. He's been loose all summer. He's loose again tonight.
His recent winner in the Camping World Truck Series.
He was loose then.
And slow, as you mentioned earlier. Conserving fuel to get the win.
Whoa.
Now he's right on the back bumper of Dakota Armstrong in that 98. There is where Kevin Harvick is running.
It's going to be a pretty interesting 25 laps, Phil. There's fuel strategy coming into play. We've got the point leader needing the green flag to stay out. Harvick and Busch battling at the front.
Talking about green flag pit stops happening soon. We're going to take a quick break, 60 seconds. We'll be right back to show you all the action here at Chicagoland. Coming up next, it's Trackside with special guests David Rudiman and Joey Logano, getting you ready for the first race of the chase from right here at Chicagoland. CenturyLink.com, your link to what's next. And right now, what's happening is green flag pit stops. Here comes Kevin Harvick, race leader, giving it up to come on to pit road.
And Rick, here's the situation. It was 4 laps still left that Kevin could have gone on fuel, but he just popped on the radio and said, Bruce, which is his crew chief, Bruce Cook, I've got to come now. I've got a vibration. They were going to go fuel only, but they got to do tires here. This could be a deciding factor in this race. They're going right sides over here for sure. They'll take a look at it, see if there's any problems. Right side tires getting hung on there. You see Kyle Busch still on the racetrack right now, and they call it for a 4-tire stop for Kevin Harvick. The 7 is coming in, and Miguel Paludo. They're going to go with 2 tires, and as Miguel gets ready to pull in his pits, Harvick goes out. These guys are going 2 tires on the Stemco Toyota. Hermie?
Well, Ray, just like they talked about, as soon as the 2 hit pit road, so did the 18. The only difference, the 18, 2-tire stop to try to gain some track position.
That's a big change right there for Kyle Busch to come on only get 2 tires where Harvick gets 4.
Had a hiccup on that right rear.
The 3 of Austin Dillon, he is now on pit road.
Yeah, he needed a blazing fast stop there, Phil, and he didn't get it. There were some issues there on the right rear. Took him a couple extra seconds. That's about the back straightaway if you think about it.
Right.
2-tire stop for Matt Crafton there. He was talking about his truck not working very good in the center of the corners. He said as he rolls in, the truck just doesn't respond. Here comes Austin Dillon in. What will these guys do? Tires are going over the wall. So at least it's and Danny Stockman calls for a 2-tire stop. Right behind the number 3, we saw the number 29 of Parker Kligerman come in, and the 3 will roll away quickly. Parker Kligerman has a little bit of a hang up on the left rear, but he gets off pit road also. Those pit stops happening on lap 132.
See Justin Lofton into a Chevrolet this time with a working arrangement with our ECR and RCR. Having a solid run, running up in the top 10 right now.
Been good all day with that truck.
Nelson Piquet Jr. just in front of the 5 with Todd Bodine. Piquet Jr., your race leader, he's got about a 3/10 of a second lead over Bodine. He will still have to come onto pit road, as does Johnny Sauter and Brendan Gaughan.
Now these guys might just get that splash of gas, Bill. They've elected to stay out past when the leaders pitted, so maybe just some gas and no tires on these. We saw Todd on no tires earlier. Very competitive lap times when he was on the older tires, so you could see these guys just get a splash and go.
Johnny Sauter, Austin Dillon. Here comes Kyle Busch. Again, Kyle Busch just came onto pit road. He has scored a lap down, so he still needs to get by Nelson Piquet Jr.
Right now trying to get by the 3rd place truck of Johnny Sauter. The important thing right now is that Kyle Busch is ahead of Kevin Harvick.
As is Austin Dillon. Both those guys got their trucks off pit road in front of Harvick, so Harvick's got to drive around him if he's going to win this race.
I love the gray hair Ray. You got to Todd Bodine on pit road.
You know what they've done, Phil? They were talking about doing no tires there, but Todd said his truck was really tight in traffic, and his crew chief Mike Jr. said we'll go with rights only. Don't slide your tires, and he gets back off pit road. It was lap 134, and Hermie, I believe the 8 is coming up. He gives up the lead.
Yeah, he is right. He's going to do the same thing that Kyle Busch did. His crew chief Jeff Hensley wants 2 right side tires and enough fuel to the end. Try to gamble and get that track position.
Here at Todd Bodine, too fast entering. He'll have to do a pass-through penalty.
As will Justin Lofton, too fast exiting. So pushing the envelope, guys.
You're here with 15 laps to go, man. This is not the time that you can overcome a penalty like that. Here comes Johnny Sauter. You heard him back off, make his way towards pit road. Has to be right on the money here.
He was the last one that needed to come onto pit road of those that were on the lead lap.
Don't aim for fuel, just get a splash in it. Don't slide the tires.
Joe Shear said don't slide the tires.
Splash of fuel, and they're going to put right side tires on, Hermie.
And no question, no adjustments, only right side tires and 1 can of fuel to get Johnny Sauter to the end. A lot of strategy taking place here on pit road.
I like this 2-tire change. Kyle Busch right now, it took him a little longer, probably 3 or 4 extra seconds with that trouble with the right rear, but right now he's being shown in the 3rd spot.
Johnny Sauter will move down the list as we see Austin Dillon out in front now.
Yeah, and Dillon's fast, man. He was fast during that long green flag run before this stop, and he's come out of the pits hauling the mail again. So Harvick's going to have his work cut out for him to go get those guys without a caution. I don't know if he gets there.
He was a half a second faster that last lap than Kyle Busch was. Here comes Todd Bodine to serve his penalty for speeding on pit road.
And NASCAR reviewed the 6th pit stop. They thought he had pitted outside of his box. After reviewing it, They noticed that he didn't, so they rescinded the penalty. He will not have to come to pit road.
Great call by NASCAR to double check to make sure, because you don't want to give a penalty right now. There's no way to give it back. You heard Todd Bodine apologizing to his guys for getting busted for speeding out pit road.
And right now, Justin Lofton would be in the Aaron's lucky dog position, so if we could catch a break here, things were looking really grim for that team. He could be right back on the lead lap that quick.
Out in front, which is 13, now 12 laps remaining. Austin Dillon has a 2.1 second lead over Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. Those two are battling for second right now.
There's those 2 seconds we talked about on that right rear tire change that he needed to have in order to be able to be right where Austin Dillon is. And Kevin Harvick wouldn't be there yet. So,
and remember, Kevin felt a vibration. That's why he went with 4 tires. They were originally going to do 2 tires, and the 4 tires may be just the ticket here with 12 to go.
Side by side, those two racing for second, while Austin Dillon still has a 2.6 second lead over the 2 drivers.
How about Piquet pulling back right on the rear bumpers of these guys?
Look how loose Harvick is down on the bottom of the racetrack. He's just weaving all over the place trying to make this pass on Kyle Busch. Here comes Piquet to push Busch ahead of Harvick.
Nelson Piquet on the high side gets in behind the 18 of Kyle Busch. Kevin Harvick still running at the bottom of the racetrack.
And Austin Dillon is loving this. It's slowing these guys down while Austin is running some really, really fast lap times.
Clean track in front of the 3 of Austin Dillon. If these 3 continue to battle for that second spot.
If this battle for second can't be decided pretty soon, it's going to give the race to Austin Dillon.
I think Austin Dillon would say he earned it.
Well, that too.
And his team, which they really got out in front because of a great pit stop by the 3.
Harvick's getting frustrated here with Kyle Busch. He knows if he can just clear Kyle, he'll have a chance to go chase down Austin, but he can't make that happen, Phil.
It's 3.2 seconds now between first and second.
Watch this now. Watch the 8 of Nelson Piquet Jr. coming up off the corner, running extremely hard. He's going to bounce off the wall ever so slightly.
Just kiss that wall. These 2 haven't settled it for second. Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch running side by side. As they continue to run side by side, we'll have just 8 laps of racing to go when Austin Dillon gets back to the stripe.
And he's got a 4-second lead now. He's running 3/4 of a second faster than these guys running side by side.
Austin Dillon, last win came at Nashville earlier this year, about to steal one from the 2 Cup Chase contenders that are down here in the Truck Series tonight.
And by the way, other than a couple times at Martinsville, that'll be the first time in about 3 years that anyone's done it.
And they're right on his heels. They're second and third, so Austin's going to earn this win.
Nelson Piquet Jr. with a very impressive run tonight, trying to hold on to that 4th spot. Here comes the 29 of Parker Kligerman. He's moved into the mix. He's running in the 5th position.
Finally, Kevin says.
Yeah, Kyle lost some momentum coming up off the corner.
Here comes Nelson Piquet Jr. to the inside. He's trying to take 3rd away from Kyle Busch.
It's too late, though. I think without a caution flag, without some help from Kevin Harvick, he's being shown 5 seconds behind Austin Dillon right now, and Austin's still running some really fast lap times.
Parker Kligerman, an impressive run on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to get by Nelson Piquet Jr. for the 4th spot. He makes that pass. Now he'll set his sights on Kyle Busch, who's just in front of him.
Look at that lead.
Austin Dillon has almost a 5-second lead over Kevin Harvick as we have under 6 laps of racing to go.
Wow, you see Parker Kligerman, we talked about it earlier. He got in that same situation on the inside of Kyle Busch. Had to chase that truck, lost that spot back, and Nelson Piquet Jr. getting by him.
13 on the lead lap. Brendan Gaughan running in the 13th spot. Dillon, Harvick, Busch, Piquet Jr., and Kligerman, your top 5. What's happening with the 18 team, Hermie?
Well, Kyle just came on the radio saying he thinks he might have a right rear tire going down. We'll follow with only 5 laps to go. But he called it to Eric Phillips. His crew guys are on pit road to see, but he is holding on right now.
You got that right, Hermie. He was dead sideways down in 1 and 2. Looks like that truck could be having a problem.
Nelson Piquet Jr. trying to move up the racetrack to improve that entry line. Goes through the turn. He's able to make the pass on the 18, so he takes that spot away, moves up into 3rd.
That 18 is definitely off the pace. He's not been able to maintain the speed in the corners that he has before. I think he does have a tire going down here.
Under 4 laps of racing to go. Austin Dillon out in front. The gap now has been closed, though, between he and Kevin Harvick. 3.7 seconds between the two.
Harvick picked up a second, Phil, that last time by. I wonder if Austin caught some traffic or if he's got some issues.
Look at all these lap trucks right in front of Austin. He's going to get by these 2 trucks clean. That's Caleb Rourke in the 07.
Makes Austin run a little higher line as he goes into turn number 1.
Another couple of tenths Harvick gained there, but that's not going to be enough. We need those seconds.
3 laps of racing. Austin Dillon out in front of Kevin Harvick by 3.5 seconds.
Great pick called by Danny Stockman to put 2 tires on, and his guys performed a flawless two-tire change. It got him this lead, and now Austin's getting it done on the racetrack. There's Danny right there.
Danny on the left side of your screen.
Wanting to smile.
He doesn't want it. He doesn't want to feel too confident.
Hey, he knows this thing isn't over. If we get a caution flag before the white flag's displayed, it's a new ball game.
Under 2 laps of racing to go. Austin Dillon just inside of 3 miles of racing. Austin has been out front for 15 laps of this race. Kevin Harvick, the dominant truck tonight, had led 99 laps. But right now, Harvick playing chase to the 3 of Austin Dillon. Crossing the stripe. 1 lap to go for Dillon.
That means the next flag displayed will end the race, whether it's the checker or caution. He got to that white flag. That means this race will not have a green-white checker.
Austin Dillon, after starting in the 5th position, winning that spot.
Plenty of room.
In qualifying earlier today, we just heard Andy Houston say, plenty of room. That's his spotter.
That's what you want to hear on the last lap if you're leading the race, right, Phil?
Absolutely. He's going to take his time. Going to move to the inside of Timothy Peters. Going to give him plenty of room.
And as he comes into the quad oval, Austin Dillon grabs his 4th career win in the Camping World Truck Series.
How about Parker Kligerman getting by Kyle Busch at the start-finish line, right up against the outside wall?
What a great run for Austin Dillon. Nelson Piquet Jr.
Great job, Austin, man. Good call there. Good call, man. Good call.
That was Granddad right there.
Richard Childers just giving the congratulations.
Thank you, God, for giving us this opportunity. I love you guys. That was awesome. Good job on pit road. Let's celebrate, baby.
2nd win of the season for Austin Dillon.
Burn them down, and when you go to victory.
You just heard Austin Dillon burn him down. Or excuse me, you just heard Andy Houston say burn him down. Right.
Well, let's hear from crew chief Danny Stockman. I'll tell you what, Danny, lots of people went with the 2-tire stop, but yours was under 6 seconds. The guys were flawless.
Yeah, this big win is just unbelievable. I mean, they've been on for the last 3-4 weeks, and it's just, you guys see it on TV, that it pays off. Awesome truck, and just got to thank the Lord and my wife and Alexis and Mom and Dad for getting me here. It's been all I ever wanted to do right here, and it's just awesome to work for Richard Childress Racing.
Good night in the points, too. I know you guys are focused on winning a championship. What do you got to do to get it done?
We just got to keep doing this. Come out here and win races, and the points will fall where they need to fall.
Win number 4, Danny Stockman, the crew chief. They'll go to victory lane and celebrate with the Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet.
Austin Dillon stops at the start-finish line and acknowledges the praise that he's getting from the grandstands here at Chicagoland Speedway.
We talked about the beginning of the show, half of our top 10 in points, 21 years of old or younger. Two of those 21-year-olds finished in the top 4, or 21 or under.
That's right.
Uh-oh, another slide.
And that one works. He didn't slide into the painted grass. And I'm sure he's going to feel better when he gets back into the truck after that one. 4th career win for Austin Dillon.
Big week for Austin. It was just announced that he's going to move to the Nationwide Series, take that black number 3 to the Nationwide Series in 2012.
We'll open up a little room for his brother.
What happened between the 18 and the 29? Watch this move that Parker Kligerman puts on Kyle Busch.
Kyle realizes too late that Parker's up there. Parker gets him right at the line to take over that 4th spot.
And that was less than 1/10 of a second that separated these two as they crossed the stripe right there.
What a great move by Parker Kligerman grabbing that spot.
These guys started racing about an hour and a half when they threw the green flag, and they didn't stop till they got to the line.
I think Kyle thought maybe Jack Smith cost him that spot.
Let's hear from the guy who finished second in this one. He's with Hermie.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick. That's some great racing out there tonight. It came down to pit strategy on pit road, but you guys put on a whale of a show.
Yeah, our Bad Boy Buggy Chevrolet was really good. I knew they were going to do the opposite of what we did, but we had 20-some laps on those tires there, and I had a vibration start to pop up, and we just had to put 4 tires on with the position that we're in, with the points and everything. We want to win the race, but we don't need to blow a tire. So everybody did good. Just got to thank Hunt Brothers Ream, champion, One Main, everybody involved in this program, Chevrolet, that keeps us on the track. So it was a really fast truck, and can't win them all.
And everybody always lights up when you and the 18 get side by side. You guys stay that way for 4 or 5 laps.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing what he was supposed to do. I mean, he was, he's when we're racing for the Owners' Championship, hoping that we would make a mistake down there, and he knew we had a better truck, and he was just trying to do what he had to do. So just good racing.
And that puts you guys in the Owners' points lead by 40 points.
New truck. Kevin Harvick Incorporated, by the way, doesn't go to victory lane for the first time in 6 races. It's been pretty dominant for KHI, but now it's RCR that celebrates, and young Austin Dillon. We'll hear from him next. Welcome back to Chicagoland Speedway. The Fast 5 225 just getting wrapped up under the lights, and we go to victory lane and Ray Dunlap.
And Austin Dillon ready to climb out right now. The Gatorade will be a-flying. Little confetti comes in, and just moments ago, Pop Richard Childress was down here to congratulate his grandson for a great race, and also to congratulate the pit crew. How's win number 4 feel for you?
Great. This is the best one, man. Had the Cup guys in there. That's who you want to beat. We do this every year. First thing I want to thank, though, I was sitting in church today, and me and Stockman, this truck season is a hard season. We've been fighting up and down this whole year. We've had good trucks, just not been able to finish. And preacher said something really cool. Is we got to stick together through this, and that when it comes down to it, it's God's. Whatever God's will is, that's what's going to happen. So it happened for us today, and I got to thank Johnny Morris and Bass Pro Shops for letting us do this. I hope we continue this throughout our career, and these guys are awesome. They got us out on pit road out first, so it was a great call by Stockman. They were great all night, kept knocking positions off, and had a truck that we can get it out, and I just held her wide open.
Have you been practicing the slide? Because it seemed like this one went much better than the last one at Nashville.
When I walked up driver intros, I kicked the painted grass and made sure it was going to stick. So the other stuff was pretty slick, and I got me a good run at it, and it went really good.
Just 3 points back in the championship chase. This thing is really going to light up now.
Yeah, main thing is just go win races. That's the only thing you can do. The lead and the point steal. Everybody just keeps giving it away when you're out front. So just go win races. That's what we always do. Thanks, Mom. You're back at home. I love you. Nani, both of you guys. I love all you guys. Love the family, too.
All right, I want you to look at the video here real quick, because we do have something to remind you. This was Nashville.
Yeah. This one's a little better. This next one's smoother.
Yeah, I think we can compare them. And here comes this one. I'd give it like 100% better.
Yeah, that's 10% better. We always put our A game over here on this team, and that was an A game slide right there.
Russian judge gives him an 8, and number 3 is in victory lane for win number 4.
What a great job by the entire number 3 team. You see Richard Childress down there. Also Kevin Harvick down there saying, hey, Danny, nice move. Able to get the 3 truck off pit road first. He was able to hang on and get win number 4. What was it that put Austin Dillon out in front? And what was that winning touch? The winning touch of Gray.
This 2-tire pit stop on lap number 131.
The strategy was perfect, but the pit crew executed that stop flawlessly. And you can hear Austin, just a perfect launch out of the pit. Not a whole lot of tire spin. Everything went right on that stop, and it resulted in a win.
This is a team sport, and that team won this race tonight.
That was the touch of Gray, winning touch. And even though Ray said that Russian judge gave him an 8, I think everyone else gave him a 10 on that slide.
French judge might have given him a 9.
Let's go to Hermie Sadler. He's got 3rd place Nelson Piquet Jr.
Nelson Piquet Jr. on pit road getting some congratulations here. You guys were solid ever since you unloaded this truck all weekend. Good solid top 5 finish.
For sure. I just got a bit worried in qualifying. We weren't very quick, but I knew we were going to have a good balance for the race, and You know, the whole race we're good. At one point, we did a little setup change, which wasn't very good. Fell a few positions back, but then changed it back and took off again, and it was great. I mean, maybe we weren't as quick to win a race, but we were nearly there.
And you had a new crew chief tonight working with Jeff Hensley, Rick Corelli on the radio. I heard you say a couple of times, I don't understand what you're saying. Talk about how it can be hearing some new voices in your ear at this point in the season.
Well, everybody has different slangs. Some are speaking more redneck languages than others, so I'm still learning the language, picking it up slowly. So, no, it's fine. I mean, Jeff did a good job. The whole team did a good job. The pit stop was perfect this weekend, and Corelli and me were hanging on very well together. So, I mean, nothing to complain, really. Things are just getting better and better.
That's Nelson Piquet. He finishes third.
I wonder what he calls it when Hermie's talking to him, what that is.
So he shows up over here and we're the ones without.
Yeah, that's right. Take a look at the Ford point standings. How close is it right now as we have just 7 races remaining? James Busher has a 3-point lead over Dillon, a 6-point lead over Johnny Sauter.
And guys, remember, those points mean finishing position. So right now, James Busher is 3 finishing positions ahead of Austin Dillon, and they've taken, 16, 7, 18 races to do that.
Again, 7 races remain. This one, the 18th race of the season, the Fast 5, 225, claimed by the 3 team, driven by Austin Dillon. The Gatorade shower as he got to victory lane. It's the 4th time he's felt that here in the trucks. Celebration continues in victory lane. Austin's father, Mike Dillon, has made it into the pictures and a part of the hat dance as they continue to celebrate this one. It might go for a long time, that celebration in victory lane. Another guy who's celebrating his 4th top 5 of the season is Parker Kligerman, and he is with Hermie.
Well, Parker Kligerman also getting some congratulations on pit road. When they say you guys in the truck series race until the checkered flag, that's exactly what you did tonight. Congratulations on a good run.
Absolutely. You know, we have Chicagoland Ram dealers here on this truck this weekend, and just a great paint job. And, you know, we were all kind of excited because we brought out a brand new truck also, and for us. And, you know, right off the trailer, we were top 3. And from there on out, you know, we just tweaked on it, and we did a great job this weekend. You know, I was really proud of all these guys because we never really had a time where I thought, I'm unsure. I mean, it was always, how do we get that little bit more to be first? And in the race, we had probably 2 things that held us back a little bit, but, you know, I'm proud of these guys. I'm proud of what we're showing up with. We've got clean trucks to go race with, so I'm excited for the races coming up. There's no reason we can't challenge for this championship.
And it looked like a point where maybe you learned some lessons from early this season. We saw you dive to the bottom of the racetrack, get a little bit free, but you held on to it, bagged up, got yourself together, and came back and picked up a couple spots after that.
Yeah, no, they say, you know, you got to take what you learn and use it for your advantage. And that right there was probably a little bit of a adventurous move, I guess, in terms of yanking it down, but we were able to recover from that, and that's what matters, you know, and not actually, you know, doing what we've done twice this year. So, you know, it shows I'm improving, and hopefully we can go out there and not make even that little bit of mistake right there. Next time, just make the pass.
That's Parker Kligerman, top 5.
Thanks, Hermie. We want to take a look at our Camping World race results from this one as they continue to celebrate in victory lane. Out in front, Austin Dillon grabs his 4th career win. Coming home in 2nd, Kevin Harvick.
One proud papa there, you know it?
Certainly was. Great runs by some young drivers. Austin Dillon, Parker Kligerman up in the top 5. Parker with a great battle right at the start-finish line with Kyle Busch. And how about Johnny Sauter soldiered on for another top 10, 6th place and gained some ground in the points, only 6 behind now.
Yeah, I love Johnny Sauter's job tonight. You know, that truck was out of control, loose. We heard him report it several times, and he was very adamant about the looseness of the truck. But yet the team, Joe Shear, those guys, they could really work on the truck for Johnny, and he was able to recover and get a strong 6th place finish.
Surprisingly enough, James Busher outside of the top 10, but he holds on to that point lead.
Yeah, got a big break by the fact that everyone had to make green flag pit stops. He made an unscheduled pit stop way early, but everyone else had to make green flag pit stops, so that allowed him to get that 11th place finish.
Mistake by Todd Bodine on pit road cost him a shot at the top 5, ends up back in the 13th spot.
Ricky Carmichael had engine problems early on. Looks like they were leaking oil.
As did Jason White. Something went wrong with the engine on that truck. Norm Benning was the last truck running, soldiered on to get a 27th place finish. Last guy on the track.
These are some of the trucks that were out early in the event.
That's a party right there.
That's what a truck looks like before it goes through tech after they win the race. They'll clean that off. Austin Dillon continuing to celebrate. NASCAR Camping World Truck Series on Speed is brought to you by Camping World, the Good Sam RV Club. Everything for the RV lifestyle, including RVs, accessories, warranties, insurance, roadside assistance, and more. And by Touch of Gray. Gets rid of some gray, never all. Night racing in the Camping World Truck Series, always exciting. There you see Richard Childress, Austin Dillon, and his father, Mike Dillon, taking a few more pictures. As we take a look at our 4-point standings. 3 points separating the top two, Buescher and Dillon.
This is just awesome. This is just awesome. We counted Ron Hornaday out. He's still in this thing, only 47 behind. But look at everyone else. We got Crafton 49 behind, Joey Coulter 52 behind. Man, this is going to be a dogfight down to the very end.
And Austin Dillon, after this win, closes the gap between he and points leader James Buescher. Buescher standing by with Hermie.
Well, James Buescher, that was kind of an up and down night for you guys. Had a fast truck, and you came to pit road, unscheduled pit stop, and it looked like that was going to really hurt you. You batted back for an 11th place finish. Could have been a lot worse.
Definitely could have been a lot worse. You know, the XI battery Chevy was fast to start with, and we were going forward at the beginning, and we put our first set of tires on and lost a little bit of the handling, and the second set felt like was a little better really late in the run after a heat cycle. So we couldn't get the thing to fire off on new tires, and you know, we needed a lot of laps on for the truck to be handling right. And you know, I came to pit road, had a problem. I was just about to wreck every single lap, and you know, we were a little better there at the end, but still not where we needed to be. Luckily, it stayed green. We were able to get back and lead lap and finish 11th, but definitely not what we needed when people were racing for the championship win the race. So we'll go to New Hampshire, and we ran really good there last year, and hopefully bounce back.
That's James Buescher. Turned a potential disastrous finish into a really solid finish. He stays on the racetrack and gets an 11th place finish.
And holding on to the top spot in the points, the 4-point standings. But Austin Dillon looking for his first championship, as is Buescher and Sauter, the top 3 in the point standings. Timothy Peters has battled for a championship, but has never won one. And back there in the 5th spot is Ron Hornaday, who has 4 championships in this series.
And 49 wins.
A lot of success. Another young gun looking for success in the Camping World Truck Series. Justin Lofton's with Hermie.
Yeah, Justin Lofton catching up. 15th place finish, but that's not really indicative of the kind of truck you guys had. Really, really strong these last couple of weeks, switching over to Chevrolet.
Yeah, definitely. You know, really happy of everyone on the collegecomplete.com new Chevy Silverado. Really excited of the manufacturer switch, and you know, had a lot of fun tonight. Had a lot of horsepower, and unfortunately, we had a right rear going down that whole last run, and lost about 40 pounds of air pressure. So we got really tight, but really proud of all the guys, and we're definitely going to rebound. And you know, just a big thanks to collegecomplete.com, Lofton Cattle, Chevy Silverado, and everyone that helps us out.
Talk about the rest of the season. Obviously, that's a big undertaking you guys have taken on right in the middle of the season. But talk about what your expectations are as we head down the stretch.
Yeah, definitely. You know, the manufacturer switch is all for next year. We've got a commitment to run the whole 2012 season over at Eddie Sharp Racing. So we're almost kind of pre-running right now. We can't do much testing in the off season, or let alone on the big track. So we figured, you know, take it on in the middle of the season and start building for next year.
These guys are taking advantage of this track time to get ready for 2012, Rick.
Thanks, Hermie. The hat dance continues for the most recent winner in the Camping World Truck Series. Austin Dillon taking the pictures in victory lane with the trophy. And how about Richard Childress? Big bear hug for grandson Austin Dillon. We'll be back here to Chicagoland. Welcome back. Fast 5, 2:25 in the books. That's the 18th race of the 2011 season. The points race has tightened up in the Truck Series. The guy who started out front in this one, Steve Arpin, grabbed his first career pole earlier today and ended up in 16th. He's with Hermie.
Well, Steve Arpin, we attempted to do this interview maybe under some better circumstances with a pole, but nevertheless you came on with a 16th place finish, and I'm sure learned a lot on the racetrack tonight?
I tell you what, that was a humbling experience tonight. We knew the car was going to get freer from day to night, and it was just, we started out that race, and it was so loose that we just needed to do what we could to kind of make do till we can come in and work on it. And at the end there, we actually got the truck good. We were sitting there, we were in the lucky dog spot for like the last, I think, 50 laps, and we just didn't get a break with the caution. But the Mike's Hard Lemonade Chevy was great. I learned something each and every lap. That's all that matters. We're really trying to set ourselves up for next year, and it's all about just going out there and having fun and learning right now. So these guys are in the trucks each and every week, and they get to work on the rhythm and work on getting everything going, getting momentum going, and we're definitely going to have that next year for sure.
And tell the fans at home about next year. What are your plans with this team for next year?
I've got my plans. I know exactly what my plans are, but I don't think they have all their plans finalized yet. But everything's looking really good. We're really working hard at it. We got great partners with Mike's Hard Lemonade and Turner Motorsports, and it's just a perfect recipe for success. With myself and Mike's Hard Lemonade and Turner Motorsports, everyone works so well together. We're really, really looking forward to getting everything rolling for next year.
That's Steve Arpin. He qualifies up front, finishes 16th, but brings it home to the finish with Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Thanks, Herbie. Fast 5 225 in the books. The next stop for the Camping World Truck Series, New Hampshire Motor Speedway. A little bit shorter racetrack, but packed full of action.
Yeah, a lot of action. It'll be relatively flat there at Loudon. There's going to be some bumping, some banging.
Somebody's going to get mad. I can just guarantee you.
We've seen that happen there.
Someone is going to lose their cool.
175 laps to determine who will go to victory lane. In the end, it was Kyle Busch that also won that race from a year ago. He had won the 2 previous races at this racetrack, but wasn't able to capitalize on a good truck early on.
You remember James Busher up there last year? I mean, he looked like Kyle Busch had people clobbered, and James made it tight at the end. Kyle had to make a major move to get that victory, so you never know what's going to happen in one of these darn things.
Another great event here, and Austin Dillon really came out at the end with a great pit stop, great pit work, good strategy, and was able to parlay that in a fast truck to victory.
And we saw great side-by-side racing for position throughout this race, probably mostly because of the weather. A cool race night.
It was a perfect night for a race and perfect finish for Austin Dillon.
Next up on Speed is Trackside. Thanks for joining us here.
Next week, the Camping World Truck Series heads north to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Over the past 2 years, Kyle Busch has dominated in Loudon, but a group of young drivers are looking to stop Kyle's winning ways as they fight their way to the championship. Chris Devoto hosts the setup starting at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, followed by flag-to-flag coverage, only on Speed.